In Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station. Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic.
Good morning. Thought I'd help you wake up.
It's 6 a.m. and you're listening to The John Kincade Show, Philadelphia's longest-running sports talk morning show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Let the party begin!
The show starts now.
It does. The show starts on this Monday morning. John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. We appreciate you being a part of the show. On this Monday morning after the storms have all officially blown through, and hopefully your area, your home, your street is fine in the aftermath. We had terrible rain Friday, and I sent Bob the satellite pictures. We had, I think the weather gauge in the community said 5.8 inches of rain in one afternoon. It was crazy town, and there were other areas that were 20 miles away that had nothing, and it just poured down and poured down. And then yesterday, I saw Adam Joseph from 6ABC. His house was flooding. I think we're like 5 or 6 miles from him. We had nothing, bone dry.
I saw some people building arcs around your area.
Gosh,
yeah, it was bad.
They said it was 25. Chester County got 25 to 30% of its annual rainfall in 72 hours. That's how much it came down. Pat, was your area a lot of rain or not?
Yeah, it was bad.
It was bad?
I still ended up going out to the grocery store during it.
You chose
boy. Family's got to eat.
Yeah, it was like 6 o'clock. I looked at my my weather app on my phone, and it wasn't supposed to let up until 8. And I was like, I'm not.
I gotta go.
I'm not waiting. Yeah, I'm hungry. I've been wet before.
What about the kids? Were they hungry or they were?
I don't really care about them. They can.
Well, they can't fend for themselves. You were going to say that they can't yet.
I mean,
they're 4 and an infant, so you need to help them there.
I think Jack could.
I don't know why that's my job. We live in a progressive society. Why is it my job to go
it is.
out there?
That's very patriarchal of Bob to say that, isn't it?
I mean, come on.
It is your job because you decided to do what you did.
You made them, Pat.
I mean, I got ice cream, and Jack had one of those.
Okay, good. Well, that's nice. That's good. Oh, you're good. That's a good father.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Bobby, how much rain do you have?
I mean, we had some downpours, but Saturday we had friends over for cocktail hour, whatever. We were going to spend it around the pool. And I texted everybody. I said, don't come at 5, make it more towards 6 because it looks like it's going to be better. And sure enough, everybody came over, and not that the skies cleared, but it was warm and it didn't rain, so the kids were in the pool. And
that's awesome.
We had a good time.
Coach, did soccer get affected by the storms of the summer?
A little bit. On Sunday, they moved all the games up, and they shortened them. Instead of hour and 10, they went an hour. So 30-minute halves.
So that doesn't affect strategy that much, right?
No, not really. But, moving all the games up when they already had, the first game was scheduled for, I think it was 11, and then they moved it up 2 hours.
That's a little tough.
Yeah, it changes everybody's plans.
Hey, our 6 a.m. sponsors, Bradford White Water Heaters. Bradford White is here for the pro, and Coach has in the Morning Mindbender that only one NFL team has a plant for a logo.
Did you work hard on this at all? This might be the easiest Morning Mindbender you've ever done.
Maybe for you guys.
I got to tell you,
somebody driving in the car.
No, I'm telling you, I don't.
Really?
Off the top of my head,
it's Miami.
It's a dolphin.
No, they have the palm tree.
No, that's not. It's not accurate.
They have the
Miami
palm tree.
doesn't have a palm tree.
They have the palm tree.
What are you talking
No, they
about?
don't.
They have
Miami's
the palm tree.
logo is a dolphin.
They have a dolphin and a palm tree.
No.
I think it's a dolphin jumping
You know
through
what,
the
John?
water.
We beg to differ.
I don't. A dolphin is
We're going to beg to differ on this one.
a plant.
Yeah, palm tree. Plant.
No.
you got to give up on that one. You're
Dolphins
wrong.
are
Not giving up on it. I'm doubling down.
Are you saying a dolphin is a plant?
No, I'm saying that they have the dolphin, but then they also have the palm tree.
I don't remember a plant.
Coach kind of dismissed it, so I'm thinking.
Yeah,
no.
I'm thinking that's not that one.
It's not Miami. It's not a palm tree.
And Arizona does not have anything but the cardinal head. I was thinking, was there a cacti in their picture?
The Shreveport Shrubs.
I swear to you, this is the hard.
So Pat just said this was the easiest mind bender that we've ever had.
There's a plant is an NFL logo. A tree.
Stanford.
A bush.
Nope. But it could come off of a tree.
An apple, an acorn,
The pine cones.
a pine cone. Yeah, pine cone. I swear to you,
Bob, are you looking at all of the
How are
NFL
you?
teams?
I was looking at the teams, yeah, but I don't have one in my
All right.
head.
You ready?
okay? Yes, this is
All
going to
right.
kill us.
The New Orleans Saints, the Fleur de Lis.
The Florida
actually-
Lee. It's the Florida
Oh.
Lee.
Is actually a stylized lily historically associated with the French monarchy. It's also the state symbol of Louisiana and appears on the Quebec flag.
Yes, the Fleur de Lis is, but I didn't think of it as it's a lily. I never knew that.
Coach is a lily for that question.
Although years of French put to waste. Mademoiselle McCarthy's going to be very upset with me that I didn't know that one. So, Pat, you
We
had
won't
what?
tell her.
Spanish. You had Spanish.
Yeah.
Bob, what did you take?
Spanish.
I took French and Latin. And the Latin helped a lot. French, I have no memory. I could go to France right now and be completely lost. Just absolutely lost. It didn't stick. Of all the
No.
things that stuck,
No, I didn't.
that didn't stick.
No, none of that stuck with me.
Hey, Hoagie Fest is back. You can celebrate 15 years of Hoagie love with $5 shorties and $6 classics in any variety. Got to have a Wawa. Pat, you been grabbing any during Hoagie Fest?
Yeah.
You
When
been
I'm
in?
coming back from the rink and it's late at night because Wawa's a go-to for me.
Hoagie Fest is here. Na, 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 na. You can do that. So, hey, the Phillies reached the All-Star break. Injuries piling up a little bit in the bullpen. Huge home field advantage coming soon. But this weekend was just, it was really interesting. It's maddening to me a bit, the nonchalance that is taken by this team towards, when it gets to June, we'll heat up. When it's, I heard Kyle Schwarber after the game yesterday, Taryn Hatcher and Ruben Amaro were doing the post-game show, and they have Kyle Schwarber on, and Kyle Schwarber says, there's nothing much you can do. You just want to be in the mix. You just play it as there's nothing much we can do. Quote. You just want to be in the mix. Really? Is that that's what you just want to be? You want to be 48 and 41? That's just what you want to be? You just want to be sort of hanging around on the periphery of the playoffs when you have one of the highest payrolls in baseball and you have all these stars? And by the way, the team that's trucking you in the NL East by 12 games has had a far worse injury situation than you've had? Really? Yeah, you just want to hang around. You just want to get in. You want to be playing good ball when you get in. It is the nonchalance that they take 162 games to me is just maddening. No answers from the manager. Poor play all weekend long. And it's just strange to me, Bob, that they don't. You lose series to the Nats, lose a series to the Marlins. You sweep the Rays. It just is. It's up and down. It's
23-9 over your last 32. That's pretty good baseball. I don't know if we can get every answer to every question that we want, but over a 32-game stretch, they've been really good. They've won 23 of them. It's disappointing losing 2 or 3 to the team directly ahead of you in Miami. Yeah. But, as you like to do, you look at road trips. You say, all right, they have 6 coming up. Would you be happy with 4 and 2? Before that, you would have said, yeah.
not the way they played.
Well,
I mean,
that wasn't what I said, though.
No, I
4
got
and
you.
2 is 4 and 2.
But
so,
the way this
it's
team
baseball.
plays, I'm not happy with it.
Well, are you happy when they win? Like, we seem to hearken so much on when they lose what we're not happy with. They win 4 in a row, 5 of 6 or whatever, and it's just move on, move on. That's what you're supposed to do. Well, they're in a division where this Braves team is 33 games or whatever it is over 500, which is unbelievable. Who's directly ahead of you? Miami. Yeah, that's tough. You came within a home run from Christian Pache of getting swept.
Correct.
Yeah, that hurts. But you went on the road for 6 before the All-Star. We talked about it last week. I'm sure you brought it up that you said, of those 6 games, 5 and 1 would be great, but I'll take 4 and 2. Well, that's what you have to take, and that's what they got.
They're at 48 and 41. The expectation should be far higher.
Well, you have to. It's in season, though. No, yeah, the expectations before the year, absolutely. I agree with you. I thought this team was going to be far better. The hitting's just not coming around the way it should. If they don't get outstanding pitching a lot of times, they're finding themselves not in games. I thought the hitting would be better. I thought that Trey Turner would be a lot better. I've totally gone against. We joked about it, about Schwarber being leadoff. I thought yesterday was the time, but that they should have taken him out of there. But they're going to have to relook at that because that's just not working. But they're 48 and 41. They are in the mix. That's where they are now. That's what Schwarber is answering to. I'd rather it be 48 and 41 than 41 and 48, which is what we were looking at not too long ago, maybe.
But the being in the mix, Pat, I don't know. I swear that's for this year. That's not good enough.
But it's the reality.
Oh, it is.
I
There's
mean,
no
like,
question.
Like you're going to drive yourself nuts if you spend the next 2 months pissed off about the fact that this is what they are. I mean, and it is. It's what they are. They're in the mix. In baseball, with the wild card situation, they're not panicking because they know that they can get into the playoffs and anything can happen. And I don't think that their mindset is, all right, we're good with the third wild card spot, second wild card spot. Like, I think they're going in trying to win these games, but when they lose them, they're not, they're not so angry because they know that they're still in there.
Well, that's exactly what Schwarber said, though, yesterday. Exactly. We're just, it is what it's what we are. We're 48, 41. You just got to, you got to deal with it. No, you got to deal with it because they're running into outs on the base paths. They make lazy decisions. You got guys like Aaron Nola who can't put it together. Wheeler can't put it together. This is a strange year. This is a really, really strange year. I've never seen so many. If you talk about Wheeler, Nola, Trey Turner, just those three right there, the underachieving that's going on, this team, I mean, it wasn't supposed to be a year where you're talking about putzing around all year to sneak in as a third wild card again. That wasn't what you're supposed to be. And they hopefully can turn it around in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, do you want Schwarber to say, yeah, we sucked this year. We should be better. We thought we were going to be better. I mean, that doesn't do anything for me either. I mean, it is what it is. I think they play hard. I think, do they run into outs? Yeah, like I said the other day, but they're not that. They can't be that dumb. A Little League team wouldn't be that dumb.
They just keep doing it, though.
Yeah, but they must be told to do it. Don't worry about it. Like I said the other day, and I firmly believe it after thinking it out, there must be analytics behind them saying, look, people aren't talking about the extra bases that we took or what we did here. They don't notice that. But we're doing that as a far more percentage than we are getting thrown out on the base pass by being aggressive. There has to be reasoning. They're not as dumb as to say, yeah, just keep running around. If you get tug out, it doesn't matter. No, there has to be something behind it. And as Ricky said, it points to analytics. It seems to be that Rob Thompson has said to them, yeah, we're going to try to take the extra base, or yeah, get a bigger lead at first because we overcome it with other things. But it does stick out like a sore thumb when they get thrown out on the base pass as much as they do. But this is where they are. And had they played 500 baseball over the last 32 games, they'd be 41 and 48 right now. But they didn't. They played 23 and 9 baseball. So, you kind of have to look at that with a positive outlook.
You're spending $41 million more than the team you're 12 games behind. You're spending $145 million more than the team that you are trailing in your division in the Marlins. That's ridiculous.
Well,
I mean, that's ridiculous.
I look at it like, imagine being a Mets fan. That's the way I'm looking at it.
I'm not spiking the ball in the Mets when my team is 12
I'm spiking
games
the ball.
out.
Yeah, screw that team. Yeah, I'm spiking the ball and then some.
Well,
there's somebody in my neighborhood who has a license plate that's Mets fan, and it just brings me so much joy when I walk by that car every morning, knowing that team's a $400 million disappointment. I love it. Wow. But the Marlins, look, this is the Marlins.
$145 million, Pat.
I don't care. It's not my money. But the Marlins are a team where they're like one of those comets that comes around every 12 to 15 years that you see, because they'll be good 1 year every decade. And it's this mind-boggling thing of how they're doing it because they have no payroll and they have a bunch of guys that you can't name, and they're basically the Cleveland Indians from Major League. And then they go back to obscurity, and they end up trading off their good players. And this is just the outlier year for the Marlins. And fine, if they get in the playoffs, whatever. But I mean, luckily the Phillies won't be out of it because of the wild card situation. So I'm not even getting frustrated about the money situation. I'm more frustrated about Aaron Nola pooping himself every time he hits the mound.
That's a home.
Zach Wheeler
That's terrible.
looking not like an ace at all. This team's pitching woes are they reared their ugly head this weekend, and that's my big concern. I don't care about the money. It's these pitchers that you rely on not getting the job done, and now it's gotten to the point where if they go 6 innings and give up 4 runs, we're like, oh wow, nice little.
I had a guy arguing with me yesterday, saying, yeah, Aaron Nola, what are you getting on Nola for this? I'm like, yeah, he's giving up freaking gopher balls.
Yeah, he's got to learn
3 innings.
He's got to learn to throw out of the strike zone a little bit more.
Gosh.
I mean, everything is.
Meatball.
I mean, guys are just back foot and everything because they know he's going for strikes on every pitch, and you can't do that. You just can't. You have to show a little wildness or something, so they're just not sitting dead middle of the plate all the time, and that's what it seems like everybody's doing with him. My complaint about this weekend was more Saturday's lineup than anything else.
You mean the give up lineup?
Yeah, I understand lefty righties. I understand you want to get your right-handed hitters some at bats because you're going to need them down the stretch. But it's 2 damn games to go before the All-Star break. Like, Stott has to be in there. He's your best. He's probably your best all-around hitter. Keep him in the game. I don't understand that. It kind of ticked me, especially 2 days before the All-Star game. Didn't like Saturday's lineup at all. But that was kind of the only thing about the way. It was funny. I'm watching the game outside on Saturday night. And a friend of mine, Rock, calls me, and he's like, oh, did you see that pitch up the middle? I'm like, what are you talking about? And then 5 seconds later, it happens on my TV. So we hang up the phone. He calls me back like 2 minutes later, goes, Kristen Pache. And I'm like, what? Because it didn't happen yet.
Oh,
so
no.
he ruined it for me.
Rock, stop it.
I know. That's what he does.
Hey, did you...
Wait, how did he not know after the first time that your TV was...
He did know. He was being a jerk. Like, he called me.
Cool.
I know, it's not, but that's
not cool. That was not good.
Yeah.
Hey, if you need a new roof, and hopefully this morning after the storms, you may need some help, call New Look Home Design, save 50% off all roofing materials, and get free gutters with the purchase of a roof replacement. Plus, get a $100 restaurant.com gift card when you complete a free estimate. Call 800-279-5300 or visit nulookhomdesign.com. I will say this, if Charlie Manuel was the manager, if Jim Fregosi was the manager, if Dallas Green was the manager, and Bryce Harper gets hit in a game, Bryson Stott gets hit, the Phillies retaliate, and they get after it, and they start plunking people, and they start saying, back the hell off. You're going to hit our guys, we're going to hit your guys. This Phillies team is meek. Freaking meek. No answer. Protecting your best players from opposing pitchers hitting them is always been a part of the game. Not for this, no. Very passive. I'm sure it was an accident.
Yeah, that was kind of surprising yesterday. I mean, there was, words exchanged or whatever, but...
there's big words.
You got to. Yeah, you do. You should stick up for your team. Now, I'm not going to call them meek. I don't know, that they didn't want
answer
to.
it.
They didn't. I don't know. Yeah. But I was a little surprised that nothing more happened.
You have ex-Phillies tweeting, saying... in our day, that guy's hit.
That's the problem. It's not their day.
Somebody's got to hit. Well, in baseball and other teams, they'd hit.
I disagree. I mean, every once in a while you see it, but for the most part, this does not happen.
What do you mean?
Teams don't retaliate anymore.
I've seen many players hit in retaliation.
Yeah, okay. When was the last one?
I don't know,
That's
Pat.
my point. No, but John, you can't come on and say...
It absolutely happens.
I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it doesn't happen nearly as much in the whole crap of back in our day.
That's
it's not your day.
That is a different argument. Saying it doesn't happen nearly as often, I agree with completely.
Yeah.
To say that it doesn't happen is ridiculous.
I didn't say it doesn't happen.
It does happen.
It does. Not
teams
nearly
do this.
as frequently
Well,
to pull the back in our day
I agree
crap.
with you.
Okay, but it's not your day. You had your day.
But you got to go after it. You can't let your best players get hurt.
I'm not happy he got hit, but at this point, I never expect retaliation. I haven't expected retaliation in the past 10 years.
It's funny. Like John's point of they're playing lackadaisical baseball and all that. That leads that just gives him more evidence. You know what I mean, Pat? Like if you're looking at this team and thinking they're not playing hard or whatever, and then you see what didn't happen yesterday, it lends to that. I don't have that as my top subject, but I hear what you're saying, and I was surprised a little bit yesterday. Now, total honesty, I'm running around, so I had the game on radio also. And they were talking that words were going back and forth with Stott, I guess. Yeah. I didn't see it. I just heard the way it was being described.
He got hit exactly like Harper.
Okay. Yeah. So I heard them saying they were going back and forth with it. Yeah, you're right, Pat. Could be an age thing. I was expecting it too. I was expecting somebody to take one on the ass.
And by the way, I'm on your side. I know it doesn't sound like it. I would love for them to retaliate. I just don't expect it.
Well, guess what? I certainly don't expect it like in the days of the 80s, but I absolutely know that it happens. I've watched it happen. I've watched the Dodgers and Padres get into it. A lot of times it's in rivalries that I've watched teams get into it.
It's so few and far between is my point. Like teams now are of the mindset of don't put a guy on base, don't get thrown out, don't get suspended. Like I think really it's Major League Baseball cracking down on it more than anything because they're so quick to hand out suspensions. But it's been this way for like a decade.
It goes to the bat flip. Everybody's you're going to flip a bat? Okay, you wonder if it's.
I love the bat flip myself.
Yeah, well, that might be tied into it, right? So if I'm a pitcher and I'm okay with you bat flipping after I just give up a 3-run homer to you, who am I to say, well, I'm going to hit you in the ass because you hit one of my players?
Yeah,
I wonder. I wonder if it's tied in a little bit.
Drilled in the elbow, two of your star hitters drilled in the elbow day after day. But if you have any thoughts on this and you want to get in with us early, 610-632-0975. What are the 76ers doing? Well, a lot of people went to bed thinking this guy was gone. He's not.
Listen to 97.5 The Fanatic everywhere. On Alexa at 975thefanatic.com, The Fanatic app, and now on Odyssey. Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. And, if your basement or your crawl space smells musty, or you have watermarks on the block walls, you need to get a completely free home inspection from the experts. Call BQ Basements and Concrete, because the problem's only going to get worse. And a lot of people probably water in the basement is an issue this weekend.
Water sucks.
We did not have the sump pump, did not go on once, so I was pretty happy with it.
Oh, that's good.
Luckily.
Yeah, because when you have problems with water, it's such a hassle.
Because every time it rains, right?
Yeah, I mean, we had a house, our last house, when we first got it, just had water all the time in the basement. They had to, and it was a newly built house, so they had to excavate the whole backyard and reseal the whole basement.
No.
Yeah, so that was a hassle. But I feel so bad for people that have water problems, because it is a pain in the ass.
You saw Adam,
and it's expensive.
Adam Joseph was doing it yesterday. He was showing the water coming in between.
Yeah, I saw that tweet.
Terrible.
That's a lot. That's not good.
That looks terrible. Pat, I saw. One of our listeners here sends me a link to a piece by Mike Lupica. It's a couple of years old. But as of 2 years ago, retaliation in baseball, the events that they track, was down around 35, 40%. So you are right. It's a lot less frequent. But this was a couple of years old. It's a Mike Lupica piece. I don't know who it was written for. But he says the code of retaliation in baseball is outdated and dangerous, is what he talks about. But it's down around, now a couple years ago, it was down like 40% over what it was like in a 20-year period before.
Yeah, that has gone away. The bat flips replaced it in a weird way. People are more inclined to let the bat flip go, and the retaliation just doesn't happen. And I go back to, I really do think it's Major League Baseball cracking down, like the NHL has kind of tried to crack down on fighting. They don't like the look of it. So now it's... how many games do we watch where immediately there's warnings given to teams?
Yeah,
and it's clearly not a situation of retaliation, and they're not, trying to send a message.
Did they give out warnings yesterday? Like I said, I was driving around.
They didn't. That's why you hit somebody. No warning was given.
Yeah,
I would have hit somebody, but it just doesn't happen.
They just won't, because it's we're dealing with it.
Could you hear Ricky if he was in here today?
Oh my gosh,
he'd be going.
Maybe we'll call him. Maybe we'll call him later and see how he's feeling.
Probably,
on that one.
Yeah, he was up in Connecticut this weekend, right?
Oh, good.
Yeah. So, but back in the day, however you want to call it, to me, that's just policing yourself. And you're right, John. Two of your best players. Now, I'm not going to stand on a box and sit here and say, God, the Phillies should have hit. I really hadn't thought of it all that much until you brought it up. But yeah, common sense would say that's what you do.
You protect Harper and you protect Stott.
Yeah,
yes.
You would think.
You don't want either one of them to be. And they got plunked exactly in the same place. And they were both in a lot of pain when it happened, which is good.
I think Harper had a really good quote. I chuckled at it yesterday when I was reading it. You don't like to get hit. It hurts.
I get.
And he was talking about, but he was saying, I don't think the reconstruction of the elbow, I don't think is going to get lost on getting hit by a pitch. But, yeah, him just saying, I don't like it. It hurts. Yeah.
All right, Bob, we expect you to have answers.
Yeah?
That's why you're here. Explain the 76ers plan to us. Because last night, when I went to bed, I thought that Paul Reed was gone. When I woke up this morning, Paul Reed is back. And so I'm trying to figure out what the plan is and how this works. And I hope you have an idea what the vision. I know you talked on Friday about what you think Paul Reed could be for this team under Nick Nurse and everything, but anything you feel to...
Well, I'll tell you what I feel is that Danny Ainge is a slimy son of a bitch. I swear to God, he's great. He's terrific at his job. He is absolutely terrific. And to just put a little screw in the side of the Sixers to say, oh yeah, I'm going to make you go over the luxury tax. I mean, it's just hysterical. Them matching okay. I couldn't believe the reaction it got this weekend because I said last week if they're going to do something different and they have to. You've tried everything, so maybe there's something different there. And I kind of just put it out there as a thought, not that I'm definitively for it. But, yeah, maybe B-Ball Paul is a starter, is a guy that goes in there and gives you 18, 22 minutes as a starter and grabs you some offensive rebounds and gives you some energy that this team sorely has lacked over the last 5-6 years at times, right? Energy level. We've come in here how many times saying, my God, they just look flat. Well, they went out to get P.J. Tucker to help that. Okay. You got Patrick Beverly now to hopefully help that with the second unit. Okay. You just have to look, and the column later on is going to be about this. Are they better than what they finished last year?
I can't say that they are.
I mean, you've got some losses. You've got some gains. I don't know that the scale is tipping either way heavily of worse or better. It's kind of just like this, kind of just a very flatlining off-season so far.
I'm baffled by it all. Did he get played? Did Daryl Morey get played? Because he doesn't want to pay. He does not want to pay that contract this year.
No,
he didn't want to play that.
How can I label it? I don't want to say he got played, but he. Played isn't bad, I guess.
I'm just using a word.
I don't know. I mean, Danny Ainge, and Pat, you can talk to this too. Like, Danny Ainge has just been that GM thorn in the side against the Sixers, obviously, since he was with Boston. Now he goes out to Utah. Utah signs Paul Reed to an offer sheet? Was that not everybody's first reaction?
I was like, wait a minute. And more importantly,
somebody wants Paul Reed?
The way he structured it was amazing.
Yeah.
Was absolutely amazing.
So now he's guaranteed. He's guaranteed if the Sixers win a playoff series this upcoming season, the next 2 years are guaranteed.
It's just brilliant.
Somebody explain to me. I'm not saying I have all the answers. I just have the explanation. I don't know, John. In all honesty, I don't know. I've become a fan of Brian Windhorst, if I could say that, in that if what he is saying is true, I will be happy. And what he is saying is that Daryl Morey has something up his sleeve. Okay. And we know Daryl Morey was very patient with the Ben Simmons thing, got what he wanted ultimately, let it play out for a long, long time, which was good for us because we got to talk about it. Maybe we won't see anything until September. Maybe this is a training camp type of thing. I don't know. I don't know the answers. I can't give you answers right now because I am not sure if the Sixers have an answer right now.
I got to tell you, Pat, I think that's going to be a hard time. I think people are going to have a hard time accepting that in this fan base, that this is the plan. Just like sort of sitting around and waiting for something to happen.
I don't think the fan base will have a hard time accepting it because we lived it already. And we saw what he ended up doing. I ended up thinking back when the whole Ben Simmons saga was playing out, like they were going to get pennies on the dollar because Ben Simmons seemingly had no value.
I did too.
You ended up getting James Harden from the deal, and it was like, whoa, okay. Like he actually played this out and it ended up working out for him. So I think that is going to curry a lot of favor with the fan base where they're going to be more patient with it. And also, his relationship with Harden is so much different than the relationship with Ben Simmons. Like at this point, I'm expecting James Harden to come back and it all be reconciled and all right, we're going to run it back. We're all kind of in our feelings because they have that such strong relationship. But I think the patience level is still there with the Sixers regarding this situation.
All right, patience level or apathy?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
I'm patient to see.
What are you at? Yeah, what are you?
Both. I mean, I'm patient to let him play this James Harden thing out, but I'd be hard pressed to think that like they're all of a sudden going to be a championship contender. Like I'm leaning more towards apathy, but I'm not like clamoring for him to do a move for the sake of doing a move because I don't know if there's a move out there that gets you closer to a championship.
I thought the Embiid stuff was pretty interesting this weekend with Rachel Nichols.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see this.
Oh, okay. Maybe next time we can get some sound from it, but I forgot to ask Connor. But it was basically Embiid smiling and laughing and saying, yeah, Harden and I are cool. Everything's good. We just have to get him to, I'm paraphrasing, obviously, get him to want to come back and play with us. And he'll always be a great friend of mine. And he's my boy and all that stuff. All the right things.
He said all the right things.
But it wasn't said in a way, John, I didn't think. Sometimes you can tell when the players are taking the high road and just saying the right things. he seemed pretty genuine. And when he's laughing and smiling while he's saying it, the way he said it, just reading Joel Embiid from being around, I think he meant it. And I think he was okay with it. And I think that, that might be the game plan right now, is that they're telling Harden, look, it's good here. Now, I know what you're going to say. If you have to convince a guy to come back, what's
out? Get out.
Yeah.
Get out. If Egan came in this morning and said, I don't really know if I want to be here, then go home.
All right, but if you
then
don't
get out. Then get out.
I hear you.
Wait, that's all I have to say?
Yeah. But if you don't have another producer,
that's true.
It makes you suffer. Like, we could say that, but then there's no John Kincade show this morning because we have nobody to run the board. And we can't say,
put Connor in there.
See, okay, no. You'd say, all right, let's put Bob. Well, I've never run a board. So, that would be the equivalent, So that's kind of where they are now.
But you have time. The thing is what's great about it is you got plenty of time to find an answer. If James Harden is literally having to be begged to come back, kiss my backside. Get out. Get out. Open the door and get the hell out. If you don't want to be, seriously, you come here, you underachieve in 2 consecutive playoffs, living up to the reputation that you brought in here with you. And now, people have to, crawl across glass and beg you to come back. Go to another white party and go hang out with Lil Baby and wear matching outfits and go do whatever you got to do. Just go do it elsewhere. I'm done. I'm absolutely done with it. I like Joel Embiid, I do believe, though, I took it the exact same way you did. And a lot of times you and I hear something and we will hear it very differently. I felt the same way you did. It seemed very genuine.
Yeah.
It seemed like he really, he really does, it's okay. He's trying to he would like to get him back. He wants to get him back, and they're trying to convince him to come on back.
Yeah, he started it off by saying, it's a business.
Yes.
And that made me think, okay, Harden went and tried to get the money. And no player is going to look down on another player for doing
get your
that.
money.
It's one of the first things I learned when I started covering pro sports is when they look at each other, the first thing they think about each other is money. I'm making more than you. You have a great contract. I have whatever. And that's okay. It's their job. And, all of us wants to have the job that's going to pay us the most. And so that's what he tried to do. So Embiid said it's a business, said he'd like to have him back. He's a great friend, all of that. I think that may be just how it played out.
And it did seem that way, at least. We'll see if we can get you some of that audio of that, but coming up. I don't know. I just would say, Pat, the idea to me is if he doesn't want to be here, let him go.
No.
I mean, he doesn't want to be. That's never a good situation.
Well, it's not. But if I'm dating Margot Robbie and she doesn't want to be here, I'm trying to convince Margot Robbie, hey, baby girl, I'm the man for you. So
is she falling for it, though?
No,
is she
she's
really?
not.
Yeah,
Not
that's
at
what
all.
I'm guessing.
No.
That's what I'm guessing.
No,
is she falling for it? Right.
Absolutely not. But in this situation, yeah, right now, your starting point guard, if he leaves, is Pat Bev. And I'm probably the biggest Pat Beverly fan at the station. I don't want to see that man run a point.
No, not as a starter, no.
So I think I understand what you're saying, but there's time and place, and it reminds me of that old Jimmy Johnson story of, he cut a guy for falling asleep in practice. And I think somebody asked him, well, what if Emmett Smith did that? And it's, well, no, I'm not cutting Emmett Smith.
Right.
It's James
I'd
Harden.
wake him
James
up.
Harden. Yeah. If B-Ball Paul were to sign that offer sheet and the Sixers don't match and people went, all right, well, if you don't want to be here, go to Utah. I understand that. And I'm a huge B-Ball Paul guy.
Right.
But James Harden, they need him if they have any hope of being successful. Whether you think they're going to or not,
No.
I think we're all in lockstep with it. They're a better team with him than for next season in terms of getting to the championship than without.
They are. I mean, they're better at piling up regular season wins with.
That's the thing. It's like it's for next season. They're going to be closer. Now, if you want to make the argument that in the long game they'd be better off without him, that's another story. But for next season, I think if you're Joel Embiid and you're looking at right now, okay, it's James Harden or Patrick Beverly starting. Yeah, I'm probably calling up James Harden quite a bit and saying, hey, let's go get a cheesesteak. There's a Toy Story, mini golf thing going on at Love Park. That'd be cool. Let's check that out.
There is?
Other places don't have that. Yeah, it's down in Center City. It's like a pop-up.
And it's Toy Story?
Yeah, it's like a whole Pixar Toy Story. Yeah, I'm obviously going to check that out.
Olivia loved Toy Story.
Yeah, who didn't, right?
Oh my
I thought it was
gosh.
awesome. I just watched Toy Story 2 the other night. It was on, I think,
Toy Story
Channel
2 is not that great.
No, but just the whole stuff is funny.
Yeah, I
love
think
Toy
that
Story.
another guy that will love Toy Story is James Harden. And I think that's
think so?
ultimately the reason why he's going to stay.
Favorite character? You
Oh,
think
Buzz.
James Harden's?
James Caro. I
next
would
door
go
neighbor.
with the Prospector.
The prospect
Because of the beard?
For other reasons.
For other reasons, too?
But the beard's probably one of them, yeah, but for other reasons.
That's absolutely awesome. All right, coming up, Bob, I would say you gave us some answers. I think you gave us some answers on the Sixers, but more. We'll get to more. Bob says yesterday was a chance to prove something. Was it proven? John
WPEN Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station. Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic. Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
You know, you may turn on your mic when you do radio.
It helps.
You may not always need a new water heater, but when you do, choose Bradford White. Bradford White brings you the 6 o'clock hour of the John Kincade Show. We appreciate them very, very much. And so much going on and so much we got to get to today. Little vent on the line. He's the James Harden situation is really fascinating. The Sixers situation is fascinating. Pat's going to have a little more on the team situation as it comes, as we discuss this. But B-Ball Paul's back. And if you went to bed last night thinking he was gone, he's back. But is this organization doing the right things is the question. But first of all, let's get to Cooney's Corner. Bob said yesterday was a chance to do it.
Now, let's see what's in Cooney's Corner.
Yeah, you know, you had Harper out yesterday because of getting hit on the elbow, a little bit sore. Could have been used from what I saw on Twitter maybe as a pinch hitter or something like that, so it's not that bad. But they kept him out of the starting lineup. That's your 4-hole hitter that you took out of the lineup. So right away I said do it. Just do it, Rob Thompson.
Yes, do it.
Put Schwarber at the 4-hole, please. Change something up a little bit. I know going into yesterday you were 23-8 over your last 31 games. That's all great. You have been playing really good baseball. But the day before the All-Star break, I would have done it. I would have said, okay, just because Harper's out, I need you at the 4 spot, and let off Trey Turner and gone that way. Maybe a Turner Stott, whatever it may be. But, yeah, I would have pulled the plug on that Schwarber at the leadoff spot yesterday. And I thought it was the right time to do it because all this talk about where he's most comfortable and all, I don't really, maybe he said it before, but I don't think Kyle Schwarber, if we listen to his attitude and the way he approaches things, I think he'll be fine if you take him out. If somebody asked him where are you most comfortable and he said leadoff, okay, great.
Okay, right.
So what? I'm most comfortable wearing blue. It doesn't mean I do it every day. So, whatever. I didn't mean me, I meant, but I just would have saw yesterday as the day to give it a try. Try Trey Turner at the leadoff spot where you said he was going to be when the year started. Kyle Schwarber, you're not taking him out for on the surface. You're not taking him out for lack of production or anything like that. No, you're just saying our normal 4-hole hitter is out. We're going to put you at the 4-hole. I was begging for it yesterday morning, and then lineup comes out and it didn't happen. So I was disappointed in lineups both Saturday and Sunday with Rob Thompson.
I mean, Taryn had the a comment on along the lines of the paint and some analysis that was dug up. Yeah, since Schwarber's been the leadoff hitter, the starting pitching, which was 15th in baseball or 16th in baseball, went to being like second in baseball. I mean, so the starting pitching's been on the tear. That's the reason they're winning, not because a guy's hitting 180 in the leadoff spot. I mean, it's so absurd.
It just seemed like his bad at-bats seem to shine in losses, seem to shine when the team isn't playing well. But this weekend, it just seemed there was an awful lot of times that he came up with a guy on or you needed something from a leadoff hitter, a walk, something to get on base, something to get an inning started, and it's just not there. And that's going to hurt you. I mean, I just think you have to stop with this now. Stop with it. Pat, stop it.
Stop it, Pat.
Okay, fine. I'll shut my mic off.
No. We really do want to hear from you.
Okay, now I'm back. I agree. Yeah, the lineup, this whole situation was annoying, and I have to get used to it. I just have to accept it because it's kind of like what I yelled at for John in the first segment about, like, you can't focus too much on it because it's just the way it is. It's not changing. Like, there's going to be no epiphany with Rob Thompson. He's not going to wake up and go, oh my God, I've seen the light. This unfortunately, like, this is it. This is what we're going to have to deal with probably for the rest of the season.
I think Melvin Belvin in the analytics department. Again, I was told that it's not true. That Dave Dombrowski is not the type of general manager to tell the manager who to play. I was told that I was completely wrong if I believed that. But analytics department has to be having a heavy say because there's no other explanation for it.
Well, the way I was told about analytics is that it's always there for managers, coaches, whatever it may be. It's always there. They have departments for it. How much those managers use it and such depends on how much is given to them. That's the way it was described to me. Rob Thompson, Joe Girardi,
right?
Yeah, they seem to be analytic guys. And so, therefore, the Phillies have a big analytic department, and maybe it does come into play more than we even know. The lefty, righty, all that stuff. You know, Stott has a really good average against left-handed pitchers, and you sit him 2 days before the All-Star game?
Because that's what the computer told them to do.
I just...
Makes no
know.
sense.
There's a lot of head-scratching with me.
Well, it's that, and then it's the time where he'll give a guy 2 days off. He'll give a guy a day off after they just had a team day off.
Like Real Muto and Harper.
Yeah, and it's just, you combine the decision making, and they're all head scratching. I don't want to harp too much on it, but I wouldn't do it.
Wasn't there a lot of head scratching last year, though, Pat, in the postseason? That was where he was pushing buttons, and they were the right.
Yeah,
like they ended up being right,
buttons.
but they were crazy. Like there were some crazy decisions that worked in his favor.
Yeah, when they work, push your buttons.
Friday night, he puts up Christian Pache, and I out loud was like, "Oh, good God." I'm not a Christian Pache fan for all that much. I don't know why. Maybe I will become one.
You should be by what he's done as a Philly.
But
he's been good for them.
He has. He's been fine for them. He pulled the right button there. Pushed the right button, pulled it. Whatever you do to a button,
I think you push buttons.
You can't pull a button, dude.
I don't think you pull buttons.
Well, I guess on a shirt you can.
Yeah, but if you pull it, it's going to come off.
And
but in this situation, we're talking push.
No, buttons are not cute.
Oh, well, where did that come from? That's just
Coach
stupid.
needs to research it.
Somebody said it this weekend. I go, really?
Cute as a button?
Buttons are
Really?
cute? I don't think so.
Yeah,
They're just
I get you.
necessary.
Bob makes a point there.
Yeah, I just thought yesterday was the day to do it. And, yeah, you go into the All-Star break thinking about it. Maybe you just forget about it afterwards. If you're Rob Thompson, I definitely would have thrown Schwarber at number 4 yesterday, just to give it a look.
7 a.m. hour, the John Kincade Show's coming up, and it's brought to you by the all-new Bet Parks app, sportsbook and casino in one sleek, easy-to-use app in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Now, this is where we differ on what I would have done yesterday with Schwarber, but I want Andrew in Phoenixville to check in. Andrew, good morning. You're on the Fanatic.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Good,
Hey,
buddy.
Andrew.
Can you take us off speaker?
I'm actually in my Bluetooth in my car.
Yeah, it's a little echoey. It's a little echoey.
Oh, I apologize.
It's all right. It's all right. It must be a bad corner of Phoenixville.
Use that in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, we got you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
There you go. I apologize. Please forgive me.
That's all right.
So I'm on my way to driving to work. But, no, in terms of Rob Thompson, I think he's done pretty good with what he's had.
With what he's had? What do you mean?
Well,
the 4th highest payroll in baseball?
In terms of the pitching has gotten better. He seems to have made the right calls this year. The record is getting better, but honestly, I think he has done a much better job than previous managers have. But going into the All-Star break, yeah, Bob, I'm with you. I wish you would have mixed up the order a little bit to put Schwarber at number 4 and to have Trey Turner at leadoff. But in all honesty, I think he's done pretty well with the pressure that he's been under going into this year.
The pressure he's been under? What are you talking about?
Well, the pressure has, being able to going into the World Series last year.
Okay.
And the pressure to continue that success from the end of last year.
He's 12 games out of first. What do you mean? He's done a good job dealing with the pressure. They're horrendous. They're 12 games out at the All-Star break.
He is, but remember, we weren't doing well last year around this time either, and we managed to make up.
No, I got it, but that's not but we don't set the bar at sneaking into the playoffs and backing in like they did last year. This is a team with a huge payroll and star quality up and down the lineups and the pitching staffs and everything. This isn't a team where we should accept this.
I do understand they have a huge payroll, but I do believe that they will set fire this second
Okay.
half.
I hope they do. I hope they do, Andrew.
Thanks, Andrew.
That's what we want.
Coach knows stuff.
Does he really?
So, well, kind of.
Yes.
Coach can read stuff.
Coach reads stuff.
The origin of cute as a button was originally bright as a button. It originated in British English and was used to show something that was tiny, shiny, or adorable. Now, the phrase morphed into cute as a button sometime in the late 1800s, and other phrases popped up with similar meanings, such as cute as a bug in a rug or cute as a bug's ear.
Why would a bug in a rug be cute either? Because Pat and I would both be freaking out.
I'm not into that.
We're finding bugs on our rugs?
No,
Nah, it's not good.
not cute at all.
Your mic's gone again. It's shorted out. Yeah, your mic has
Yeah, you're
shorted
out.
out.
Wow, maybe Pat is getting let go.
This is really weird.
It's a crazy day here.
It's shorted out. Nah, it's
Nah,
shorted out.
you're done.
Gone. Your mic's done.
Yep. Later,
So
Pat.
that's not good. This is not good. So
He's the happiest camper in town right now.
that's like, wait a minute here. I'm doing all right.
Yeah, right?
All right. Again, 7 a.m. hour brought to you by the all-new Bet Parks app, Sportsbook and Casino, one sleek, easy-to-use app in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Here's where we differ, Bob. You were saying, like, if you was yesterday, it was the perfect time to have Kyle Schwarber to be able to sit out. Like, I mean, to sit out the top spot, go down to the cleanup hole.
Yeah.
After Saturday's game, I think what was needed to be done is Kyle Schwarber needed to be shown the bench.
We are not different on this at all.
Jimmy Rollins, and I had to go back and read it, Pat's absolute favorite, was publicly called out in 2012 for a lack of hustle on August the 12th. I went back and watched Charlie Manuel speak about it on camera and read all the stuff about it. It happened again 2 weeks later in a game, and Charlie Manuel removed him from the game in the game. And he said, no one has different expectations on this team. And this was Jimmy Rollins in 2012 with a pedigree of an MVP, a world champion, another National League champion. Jimmy Rollins had given everything, and he was a huge star here. Charlie Manuel didn't give a flip. He said, if you're not playing hard and you're not playing smart, I'll take you out in the middle of the game and embarrass you. Kyle Schwarber hasn't done 1/10 of what Jimmy Rollins has done for the Phillies organization. So what's the difference? On Saturday, Kyle Schwarber not only doesn't run on a ground ball, doesn't hustle. He literally jogs, then he starts to run. Then when the pitcher finally gets to the ball, he jogs again. The pitcher overthrow. He's so lucky that he got there. And then people are like, well, he should have been safe. No, he should have run to first base, but he doesn't because he dogged it. Twice he dogs it. And then later in the game, in critical situation, he gets called out on a third strike because he isn't in the box. He's not paying attention. I don't understand why Rob Thompson has no standards of expectation. I prefer a manager like Charlie Manuel. I prefer a old schoolish manager that actually says, I'm going to hold you accountable when you do that. His teammates must have been rolling their eyes. I don't care. And when I hear about what kind of a leader Kyle Schwarber is, well, if you're a leader, that's not how a leader shows young people how to do it. They don't get called out on the third strike because they aren't paying attention. They don't fail to run to first base, for God's sakes. I mean, Bob, to me, that was absolutely egregious. And I waited. And I put out a tweet. I said, I'm waiting to hear Rob Thompson after the game call this out. What did I get? Nothing. Yeah. And I got Kyle Schwarber right back in the lineup yesterday.
I was ticked off just as you were. And out loud, I said, take his ass out of the game. And I, as a manager, if I was a coach or whatever, I would have had to have an assistant talk to me to be level-headed before I made a move because, I fired off right away. I probably would have said, you know what, Kyle, sit this one out. Rob Thompson has built his reputation with this team, with these players around this fandom as being a player's manager, right? A guy that gets along with players, a guy who they described as he's the guy you want to have a beer with after the game and all that. That's great. There's nothing wrong with that and having guys feel comfortable with the way they play. But, yes, you're right, John. There has to be a standard. Look, one of my first speeches to a team would be 5 times a game, I need you to run 100 feet.
And I want you to run hard every time.
5 times a game, I need you to run 100 feet. That's 10 feet through first base as hard as you can. That's not asking too much. That's not asking too much when you have soccer players out there running 7 miles a day, when you have basketball players going up and down the court, when you have hockey players. My God, the physicality of that game. I'm asking you to run 5 times 100 feet. That's all. That's all. Play your position and run 5 times as hard as you can. And, we'll go from there. That ticked me off to no end, to the point I almost turned the TV off.
Is this better?
Yeah, that's much better. There's Pat.
Cool. I love when our mics break.
Pat, good to have you back.
Yeah, thank you. I'm back.
We missed your input.
I had to grab my stuff out of my locker, and I'll see you guys later.
We got you.
No, what annoys me with the whole situation, too, is this is Kyle Schwarber we're talking about.
Leader
this isn't
Kyle
a
Schwarber.
prima donna, and it's my big issue when I hear, he's comfortable in the leadoff spot. Like, he's not going to put up a fuss if you end up moving him out of there, because for everything we hear about him and being in the locker room, he's a great team guy, and he seems to be kind of just a guy that understands the moment and whatnot. So I think if you were to take him out of that game, he's not a guy that's going to show you up. There's not going to be this big argument in the dugout that's going to be caught on camera that you're going to be questioning where this team is. I think he's going to understand it. I think there's going to be a private conversation with Rob Thompson. And then I think they move on. And it's a lot like what happened with Jimmy Rollins and Charlie Manuel back, in 2012, whatever
2012.
it was. Where, there was a private conversation. Jimmy Rollins understood it, and then it was over. It moved on. And
then 2 weeks later, though, it blew up into, I have to take him out during a game because Jimmy did it again.
Yeah, and look, and in baseball, that's going to happen. I mean, I think if you looked at every single player, there's going to be situations where they're quote dogging it up the line.
We saw Harper do it this week, though.
And we see guys it's highlighted when it's a moment where they could have beaten it out.
Or when they're posing for a home run, like Ricky called out the other day, when Bryce Harper's sitting there posing, and he ends up getting a single over what should he be easily been a double.
Yeah, it happens, and we notice it a lot more when it's like, they could have beaten it out, but I think a lot of times it happens and we don't notice it because it's just they're out. But in this situation, like, this is the perfect guy to do it with, because he's not going to put up like this big giant stink about it. He's probably just going to roll with the punches and understand it. So the fact that Rob Thompson didn't do it, I think is even worse, considering it's this guy. It's Kyle Schwarber. It's the guy that you probably should do it with, because he's the guy who would be okay with it.
On the same week, we see Schwarber do it twice, doing stupid stuff. One lazy, one stupid. And then you see Harper again, like posing, like a home run trot, and ends up costing them. There's no accountability. Like I would expect to, even though Rob Thompson didn't say anything, I would expect that after the game, Kyle Schwarber would be like, dude, these young players in here, they look to me. I need to be better. I can't be doing stupid stuff like that. I need to be a leader. I would have expected something like that, where Rob Thompson doesn't even have to say it. He says it. If you're not going to take him out of a game, I want accountability.
Yeah,
but no.
Maybe that did happen. You don't know. Maybe they got into the locker room.
His statements did.
Yeah, like maybe you get in the locker room and Schwarber, before the media comes in or anything like that, says, guys, my bad. I'm not going to let it happen again this season. My bad. I need to get out of the box quicker and put my head down and run. And therefore, Thompson doesn't have to address it. Also, I think what we have to take into consideration is, as you well know, John, from your coaching days, some players you handle differently than others. Rollins and Manuel's relationship, as Pat pointed out, pretty cool that he could kick him in the ass and Rollins would respond. I don't know if Thompson did that with Schwarber, if you would get the kind of response that you wanted. Nothing against Thompson, nothing against Schwarber. It's a read of how you are as a coach, manager, whatever. How are you going to get the best out of your player? And we all know it. Some guys need pats on the back. Some guys need kicks in the butt. Maybe his read on Schwarber is, Kyle. And Schwarber says, I know. My bad. I'm sorry. I don't know.
I know that, again, it's not relatable, high schools to professional sports, but I know I was far tougher on my best players. I absolutely demanded more of my best players, of the guys who wore a C on their uniform or that I called on to be the leaders. I held them much more publicly accountable, even than the fourth string guys. You had to find a way to send the message. If you're going to be a leader for me, then you got to be a leader. You got to show the other guys how it's done. I just feel there's just no accountability with this club.
I was disappointed in Schwarber on Saturday. Was it yesterday or
It was
Saturday?
Saturday when he was obviously his mind was elsewhere. I think he was going to Burns for dinner, Pat. It was an afternoon game. He probably had his mind on the dessert.
And if that were the case, then I kind of side with him for dogging it. I mean,
he wanted to get to the dessert room faster.
I understand it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you should want to burn more calories now that I think about it.
Yeah,
you should want to burn all. Yeah, you should actually
before
no.
going.
No, guess what? I'm flip flopping on my flip flop because you should be burning as many calories as possible in order to save up all that room.
Correct.
You know, like when we went there, I'm not eating the salad.
No, you didn't even want the salad.
I didn't want anything but the smallest steak I could get because my eye was on the prize.
And when that dessert
prize
came,
was so
when
good.
that
I have
dessert
video
came,
of you in my phone.
you know how a little kid kicks his legs? Like
Oh,
Pat
so
was like
pumped.
kicking his legs.
He was
so
like a
excited.
dog wagging the tail when they saw the treat coming. He was bopping and dancing.
Yeah,
you didn't even know I videoed you, did you?
No, I had no idea.
Yeah.
And I
One of
didn't-
my
I didn't
happiest
give
moments
permission.
I might
was
have
seeing
to.
you.
I might have to put that out on social
I did not
media.
give permission for that.
Oh,
No. I mean,
You can find it on my OnlyFans.
yeah.
because usually you pay for that content.
Yeah.
When Pat's wagging, you usually have to pay for that content.
We're having a sale this month, $4.99.
Little deal. Was the summer slower time?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, people
That's
are
surprising.
out.
I thought.
People are doing stuff.
I thought that was supposed to be like the busier time.
Yeah, people aren't doing themselves. It's a slow time.
What'd you do last night, Pat?
Watch the draft.
He did. He watched the. I knew he was watching because
So you waited up to number 27?
Yeah, I didn't check.
I
in.
checked in
believe
on
it.
it, but I didn't. I found out when I got up this morning who the Phillies took.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's a local kid from Bonner.
Yep.
Yeah.
McGonigal.
Yeah, that was kind of slated to go around where the Phillies went. I tweeted it out because it got to the Yankees pick, and I thought, oh my God, like what's going through this kid's head right now? Because the Phillies are to be sitting there possibly and a chance to take you. That's got to be a dream, and the Phillies didn't take him.
And he went 6 spots later.
Yeah,
To
so
Detroit.
I thought like that's literally a dream come true for a local kid to be sitting there and you have the possibility, like the realistic possibility that your hometown team could take you. But
Would you take $3.2 million, which is, by the way, I believe, if I'm reading it correctly today, like if I'm going by last year's numbers, like $3.2 million he could sign for. It's all slotted. So he
Yeah.
could sign with the Tigers. Now, are you going to go play A-ball? He's going to go down to like Lakeland or somewhere like that and play A-ball.
yeah, the Flying Tigers.
Or do you go to Auburn and be a Tiger? And
No
go-
matter what, you're a Tiger.
and go play college ball for a few years. I got to tell you, I know. Look, playing in the SEC is a lot of fun, and SEC life is a lot of fun for an athlete. I can tell you, this kid will have a great time. He won't be in Sharon Hill anymore if he goes down to Auburn. If he's never seen it, it is. I mean, I'm sure he's seen it because he's accepted a scholarship there. Life is great in Toomer's Corners. It's awesome. Toomer's Corners is fantastic. The whole campus is fantastic, and there are beautiful co-eds everywhere you turn.
Yeah, there's beautiful co-eds in Lakeland, Florida as well.
There are.
So I think he'll do okay, but it's not that it doesn't happen. It's probably I'd equate it to retaliating in baseball at this point.
Okay.
It's very rare that you see guys pass up the first round pick money.
Well, he's in that
and the tag.
weird.
He's the compensation.
But it's $3.2 million, I believe. If
Yeah.
I'm looking at the numbers, it's $3.2 million, guaranteed to start your life out.
And you're still a first round pick. I mean, it's compensation first round, but Nick Castellanos is a first round
Yeah.
pick, even though he was compensation. So it's you got to be thinking of it like, all right, well, if I go, what am I gaining from it? And
You're
I'm not
gaining-
even talking money wise, like
Yeah.
money or clout. Like, how many picks up am I really going to be improved?
Right.
If I end
playing
up
college
going
ball.
back.
Yeah.
And, once again, it does happen. Usually it'll happen in the top 10. You'll see a guy not sign because
Right.
they have the leverage. But it's so few and far between. Probably the most famous Philly to do it would be Chase Utley. He got drafted in the second round by the Dodgers. And
And he waited,
went
right?
to UCLA.
Yeah, and he waited.
And that was a situation where, like, you draft a kid in the second round, you're expecting him to sign. He didn't. Went to UCLA, and then the Phillies took him 15th overall. So I would expect the kid to sign with the Tigers.
I think it'd
shocked
be
if he
great.
doesn't.
Good for him. Good for him.
Yeah, good for the whole Bonner.
3.2, put it away. Put away $3 million of that and don't touch it ever. Just don't touch it. And then go and play ball, and you're going to, he's set for life. He's set for life.
Well, taxes, John, you got to equate for taxes.
Absolutely.
You got to get yourself a good money man.
I think you do. I got one for him if he needs one. I'll be glad to help. I'll
use
help out a
one.
Bonner guy. That's not like me, but I would help out a Bonner guy.
That's big of you.
That his family should be really, really proud. Seems like a really good young man. I saw him with Jamie Apodi did a piece on him.
Yeah,
so it was great.
Yeah,
he
that's
seems
good.
like a great kid.
Good for him.
Seems like he's got a level head, Bob.
Good.
Like good, must be come from
That
good
always
family
helps.
and everything like that, which
I know
is great.
couple Bonner kids that are pretty decent. The McClune boys.
Well, wait a minute. Well, McClune's kids went to Bonner?
Yep.
Well, I guess that's that area, right?
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah, they're Bonner kids.
There is. There's occasionally some Bonner people that I'll like.
Oh, that's nice.
You know,
of
it's
I got
good.
a couple
It's very
friends from
nice.
Bonner.
You got a few. You just try to keep them separated. Hey, Bob's got a Coonies column coming up. You save the $2.95, and maybe you'll get some clarity on what the 76ers are doing. John Pat got his mic back.
Kind of.
What do you mean, kind of?
Coach had to kind of jerry-rig it, so it's not exactly my mic. It's like another mic that's just kind of sitting here.
It's just kind of sitting there?
Yeah.
Good job by Coach.
Yeah,
Good
Coach,
work.
Yeah.
Coach
Good to go,
doing
Coach.
doing yeoman's work over here.
Expression. Where'd it come from?
Yeoman? I believe it's monks.
That's right. Is it?
Look
Very
at
good,
you.
Pat.
Look at the smarts
Now,
on
is that,
you.
wait. You said that with great confidence. Is that what it is? Because I don't.
I believe so, because we used to have a host here who would do that and say yeoman's work, and I looked it up one day because I didn't know.
I thought it was a bread company.
But it was a while ago, so I believe it's monks.
That's Stroman.
But you guys can look that up if you want.
That's Stroman's. It's Strom. It is Stroman.
Because yeoman was like a thankless. I believe like the term comes from monks because it was like it's like saying like they're doing a thankless job or whatever. So I'm going to thank them, something like that. I mean, I looked it up probably like 6-7 years ago.
So you did, and you used the Bing at the time.
I did use Bing. Yeah, Bing hard.
So Bing may have like screwed you up. So
I don't know. I mean, it depends on if I was right or wrong.
well, we'll see.
Once again, I'm going through.
Coach, is he right? Is yeoman or Stroman the?
So it says yeoman is a noun originally referring either to one who owns and cultivates land or to the middle ranks of servants in English royal or a noble household.
So I'm wrong.
The middle ranks. So like at Jamie's house, not the lead butler at Jamie's house. Like he has a dojo, I'm sure. Jamie's got somebody who runs the staff.
A dojo?
Isn't that what the guy who runs the staff?
I don't know.
Is that what it is? A dojo, Coach?
Well,
Yeah,
dojo is where you do karate.
Okay, so a domo, a major domo. I'm sorry, and I'm not talking about Paul Domowitch, who is a major domo himself.
That is correct.
This is the major domo who runs your house. Like I'm sure Jamie's got one of those. And then the yeoman is like two people down the food chain that can help that out.
Yeah, yeoman term was first documented in the mid 14th century England.
You like root beer, Pat?
I do. Now I'm going to be looking up, by the way, for the rest of the show, yeoman's work and monks to try to connect this dot. Yes.
You do?
I love root beer. Yeah, it's the only beer I drink.
Do you know that I've got something for you? You got 2 kids, so you may want to think about moving. The Hires Root Beer Mansion went up for sale this weekend.
Where's it located?
It is in Berwyn.
We are looking to move. So
It's in Berwyn for just $1.425 million. You could buy the Hires Root Beer Mansion, which, by the way, is absolutely beautiful. So around $1.5 million. I'm sure there'll be a little bit of a bidding war.
might have to borrow some cash from you guys, but
Great. How much you talking?
how much was the house?
$1.425 million.
Sounds about right.
1.42. I'd have to borrow.
Wait a minute. You don't have to buy a house in cash, Pat. You can get a mortgage. So all we got to do is just get you the down payment.
See, that's the thing, and I love the way your brain thinks with that. But the idea that I would be able to pay that mortgage, I don't want to be that guy that I move in and 4 months later the bank's like, hey, bud, kick rocks.
Yeah, but imagine
you can't make these payments. So I want to make it in cash. So if you could just float me the 1.42, I'll take care of the 5.
Don't you think Mr. Hires probably hid the recipe somewhere in the mansion?
Huh.
I don't think it's in a cabinet like the soup Nazi from Seinfeld. I don't think it's in an armoire.
You know where Ribbit is? Where the Ribbit used to be, Bob?
No.
In
Jersey?
in Devon. The one in Devon.
No.
There was one there. There was a place called Ribbit right there off Old Eagle School Road and Route 30. Well, my buddy Glenn Kakovic, his family lived in a actual castle that was up that street, and it had secret passageways and everything. Pat, so I'm thinking that mansion, the Root Beer Mansion, has secret passageways and everything.
I want to check it out now. Now that you got me.
Well, why don't you arrange with a realtor to take you over to the Hires Mansion?
You got Katie, right?
Yeah, Katie could do it.
Yeah.
Cousin Katie, can you bring Pat by the mansion?
Something tells me that if I'm the guy that shows up to, like, if you're selling that house, right, $1.425 million, and your realtor calls up and says, "Oh, we have a prospective buyer,"
Right.
and I'm the guy who shows up, something tells me you're probably not letting me too far into that house.
People don't realize,
it's a
though,
waste of time.
People don't realize how much the media industry pays. I mean, Pat, you're living a really good living. I mean, people don't realize how well you're living.
I did go to Acme this weekend, and I'm happy to say I did not need coupons.
You don't use the coupons.
I don't, no, because and they'll ask me, "Do you have any coupons? Do you have a like a card, like a discount
no,
card?"
you don't do it.
And I say, you know what? I'm so well off, I don't need it.
We talked about
I work in
shopping.
radio.
You work in
among
radio. You're rich, right?
Yeah, we talked about shopping, food shopping among my friends this weekend when they came over. Husband and wife, who goes, I'm the minority that goes shopping with my wife all the time.
You are.
And like we do it every Saturday. The two of us go shopping.
My daughter told my wife last week, talk about throwing rocks at her father. She said, when I'm married, my husband's coming food shopping with me.
I like it. I like to do it.
She said, my husband's coming with me because it's not just my responsibility to shop. So my daughter's like throwing rocks at me as if dad's just got his feet up doing nothing all day. What? And he needs to be food shopping with mom.
If the truth
disagree
hurts,
with that.
John,
what?
You should be out
Yeah,
there.
I disagree with that. I disagree with her philosophy.
I disagree too. And what kind of little who's she looking to like put a leash on and walk around like a dog?
Well, also,
my daughter.
I think if you're putting that parameter on a future husband,
oh, she already is.
But like, well, you have this guy and he's great, and he treats you well, and he's got to
be hot too.
But
Pat,
the one thing he's missing is he refuses to go food shopping. You're going to kick him to the curb. Like,
come on.
I hate to tell you, but you're not doing that.
I love it, Pat. Because
you're going to get to that age, and I tell Haley this all the time. You're going to get to the age where all your friends are married off. And the only thing important, it's no longer about, he's got to have hot elbows and he's got to go food shopping. The only thing important is he doesn't have a criminal record. He's got a 401k.
Exactly.
So, right now it's cool to have all these little kitschy, parameters on a relationship. But I'm telling you, the deeper you go and the older you get, those go by the wayside.
Well, she'll tell us things where she critiques our marriage. She'll tell us things. Well, when I'm married, I'm not like that. Like I'm going to go. My husband's going food shopping with me. This isn't just going to be my responsibility.
Yeah. See, here's where you and I are different. I curse at my kids, and I would tell them STFU right in front of their face, right then and there.
Steffu?
Yeah.
Steffu?
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah. Don't tell me how.
Hey.
No. There's lines that Rob Thompson, Kyle Schwarber, all those they shouldn't cross or should cross. Yeah, don't tell me how to. Yeah, no.
I want to give a little shout out though, by the way, to our next door neighbor. She just graduated Pitt Nursing.
Nice.
And I'm really, really happy for this. Grace McLaughlin passed her boards, and she's leaving for Paris this morning on a trip. She gets to start her job at Johns Hopkins, so she's really smart. Graduated, passed her boards. She found out yesterday. So now she goes to Paris today on a vacation, and she doesn't start work till October 1st.
Oh, good for her. Because
a little time to get hooked up. She'll be down there, and then you have family down there in Maryland.
Yeah, it's tough. One of my friends, Glenn's daughter, just became a nurse, and he was telling us some stories. It's hard. It is hard. At Rock, his daughter started right at the pandemic. She was watching people die every day.
I can't imagine.
And just starting her job. And it's God bless. I say this all the time, John. I don't know if I said it on the airway. I am convinced that people that are in medicine and people that are in teaching, they were born to do what they do.
Because you have to be wired a certain way.
You absolutely do.
Every nurse, like the nurses that I dealt with when I was in the hospital having my surgery, the nurses I deal with when I go to the oncologists in the cancer center, they're spectacular. The bedside manner, the compassion, the energy that they bring, it's awesome. So Grace, go blow it out in Paris. Have a great, great time. Hey, Hoagie Fest is back. Celebrate 15 years of Hoagie love with $5 shorties and $6 classics in any variety. Gotta have a Wawa. Bob's saving you the $2.95. So when you're rolling to Wawa, you don't have to buy a paper today. He's going to try to make sense of what the Sixers are up to.
Let's turn the page and find out what's in Cooney's column.
Well, there's been a lot of moving and shaking since the NBA's free agency market opened on June 30th. With the Sixers kind of idly standing by. They watched George Niang, Jalen McDaniels, and Shake Milton sign with other teams, while they made mild ripples in a sea of free agency by signing guard Patrick Beverley and center Mo Bamba both of whom figure to be backups this upcoming season. Then on Sunday, while pushed up against a midnight deadline, the team matched the offer sheet presented to forward Paul Reed by the Utah Jazz, which amounted to $23 million over 3 years, with the first year being fully guaranteed, and the remaining seasons also being guaranteed if the Sixers advance past the first rounds in the playoffs this upcoming season. Thank you, Danny Ainge. Yes, this is the biggest news that has surrounded the team since guard James Harden opted into his one-year contract, and perhaps that is damning. Maybe it's the quiet before the storm, as ESPN's Brian Windhorst has insisted that President Daryl Morey, quote, has something up his sleeve, end quote. Or perhaps the, quote, running it back theme is more than just that, and the organization truly believes that they were close a season ago when they lost to Boston in 7 games of the playoffs. Okay, let's take a closer look at that. Yes, they had a lead with 4 minutes to go in Game 6. So if you want to say that's close, you're not exactly wrong. So how do you get past that point? By hiring a new head coach? Perhaps. And Nick Nurse is sure to bring in a new system at both ends of the floor. Perhaps ones that would translate better in the last 4 minutes of what could have been a closeout Game 6. But if things stay the same, is he doing it with a better team? A lesser team? I wrote last week of the possibility of inserting Reed into the starting lineup. Perhaps an energetic 20 minutes or so guy that can run the floor and give the Sixers much-needed offensive rebounding. So that would relegate 38-year-old P.J. Tucker to the bench. Is that something that helps the team? Maybe he is if it's a case of someone who finishes the game as opposed to starting it, and he's guarding the other team's best player. Have the Sixers answered questions or made more of them since the season ended? I'm here to be the answer man, but I can't do it because, to be honest, I'm just not really sure.
Pat, if Bob doesn't know what the hell's going on with this plan, I sure as hell don't. It's driving me crazy, though.
I'll keep the word hell out of it. I don't know what's going on. Like, if I say I don't know what the hell's going on, that makes me sound like I don't agree with what they're doing.
Oh, okay.
I am going to honestly say I don't know what's going on. That's the truth. I don't know. I don't know if they're setting this all up to be a trade. I don't know if they are going to run this thing back. I don't know if there's somebody out there that they're going to bring in that we're going to say, oh, okay, that's a decent move. I don't know. Nothing has given me hints as to what they're going to do.
I think my fear is that they don't know.
That's what my fear is, too. That's where I'm sitting.
And it's hard for me to sit there and say Daryl Morey doesn't have a plan.
No.
But, you bring back Montrezl Harrell. And so far, that's really the only move that he's made where I go, like, why? Because it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And initially I thought, well, they brought back Harrell because they knew they were losing Paul Reed to an offer sheet. But then they brought back Paul Reed, so...
And Mo Bamba, don't forget.
Yeah, and you're not bringing those guys in, I don't think, to trade them, because even if you do want to, I don't think you can trade them for a month after they sign a contract. Or no, it's longer than that. It's like Christmas for free agency in the NBA. You can't trade those guys until, like, I don't know, December 15th or something. So I was confused with draft picks, so you can't sign those guys until a month after. But I don't know what the hell they're doing either.
Yeah,
I'll put it in there. I'll put
you guys can say hell. I'm just going to say I don't know.
But I know what
they're
you mean
doing.
with the whole hell thing and putting it in there or not. But yeah, I'm confused. I don't exactly get it.
I hope that there's going to be I hope we're going to get some clarity.
Well, here's the thing.
And I agree, Pat, you brought up earlier, Bob, just to tell you there, I raised my hand as one of those people who thought, damn, Daryl Morey's going to go and get pennies on the dollar for Ben Simmons, and I was wrong. So I'm hoping I'm wrong again.
So Pat brought up, I don't know if Daryl Morey has a game plan. I'd be shocked if there's not 10 of them written out on a whiteboard in his office. If we lose such and such, they knew who they were going to lose, I assume.
I agree.
They wouldn't have let George Niang just walk, or Jalen McDaniels, or whatever, Shake Milton. They wouldn't have let those guys walk if they didn't know that's what their game plan was. But the people that they brought in, Patrick Beverley, okay, there's an argument to be made there. They needed a backup point guard. Like Pat, I think you tweeted out 2 years ago would have been a little bit better. But
yeah, ideally, but veteran minimum.
Yeah.
I think that's a key, too, with a lot.
That certainly is a key. You're absolutely right on that.
You're getting a backup point guard who's kind of fitting the mold that you want for this team with the attitude-wise, and you're getting it for as cheap as possible.
Yeah, but then the head scratchers come into play. Like I said, and I really threw this out there last week thinking maybe they could do it, maybe they might, and maybe it's an energy thing that you need. But if you do throw Paul Reed into the starting lineup, you're paying PJ Tucker still $10 million a year.
But none of us want to see him in the starting lineup. PJ Tucker.
No, because as I wrote today, finishing a game, okay.
Right.
If I say, all right, look, you need to go out and guard Giannis and be a pain in the ass for the last 7 minutes of the game, great. That's why I say, you insert B-Ball Paul in there as a starter for 18 minutes. Doesn't mean he's playing the majority of minutes at that spot, but maybe he's an energy guy. You got to try something different if this is what it's going to be. And I just don't know what that difference is or if this is going to be what it's going to be.
Pat, I want you to figure out something for me because Bob did not, Bob gave us some clarity. I think you gave us clarity on that.
I don't know.
Well, we still don't know what's going on. I know you're not a big fan either of this NBA in-season tournament.
It sucks.
I saw Richard Jefferson explaining it on social media in a sport coat, by the way, with his dress shirt unbuttoned halfway down, which I have no idea why he thinks this is his new fashion thing. And he explains it. It's still just doesn't make sense to me. But I'm a hypocrite, Pat, because I think I'm going to be excited to watch it.
I won't be. I saw a tweet this weekend, and it perfectly sums up, I think, what's going to happen. The Sixers will win it, and then all the jokes will be, well, they can win the in-season tournament. They can't get out of the second round, and it's the only ring that Joel Embiid and James Harden will ever get.
Oh, no.
In terms of the actual tournament itself, this reminds me a lot of when Twitter did Twitter Fleets.
What was that?
Do you remember that? So
no, I don't.
It was this thing with Twitter where you could, I think, put together tweets. It was dumb, and it didn't last very long.
Okay,
it lasted probably a couple months, and then Twitter realized that no one's using this. This is idiotic.
Like the momentum of Threads.
Yeah,
very similar.
Exactly.
Like 2 days,
where everyone's like, "Oh, follow me on Threads," and you're going to be back on Twitter,
and everybody's back on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly.
Here I am.
But it reminds me of Fleets in the sense of, all anybody wanted on Twitter was an edit button. And Twitter said, yeah, whatever. Here's Fleets. We're going to make this a thing. This is Fleets. You're going to love it. Check out Fleets. And that's what the NBA is doing with this in-season tournament, where I have not heard one person, and I'm not exaggerating, I haven't heard one person make a case for why this makes sense other than sponsorships. And more importantly, I haven't heard one person say they want it. It makes zero sense, but yet Adam Silver is hell-bent on making this a thing. And it's going to happen. Like, obviously, they've laid it out, but
it makes sense somewhere. I don't think we found where yet.
I'm going to be a hypocrite, though, because the Friday night and the Sunday, or whatever it is, I think it's a Friday and a Sunday. Let me make sure of the dates. Hold on one second. It's a Thursday and a Saturday. Thursday night doubleheader, Saturday championship game, national TV. I'm going to be a hypocrite because I will watch those semifinal games and that championship game from Vegas. I will watch it, and if I had a chance to be there, I would love to be there. So, I'm the hypocrite. It doesn't make sense. It's not necessary. But when it's on, Adam Silver's sitting there going, keep yapping, Kincade.
Well, and I think a large part of it is the betting angle of this as well. The NBA, as well as every league, is in bed with betting sites now. It's not lost to me they're having this thing in Vegas.
Yes.
Right, the home of gambling.
I had predicted that.
Probably, I think it's only a matter of time before Vegas has a professional basketball team. So they might be trying that out to see how many people they get out for it. But as a basketball, why? It's the question I keep going back to. Why do we need this? Who thought this was anything that the consumer, like, what was the poll that went out to NBA fans that said, man, we really need an in-season tournament a la what soccer does?
Well,
there's a lot of things that I like what soccer does, and I think the relegation thing is really interesting, and I love if one of the American sports explored relegation. But this, an in-season tournament in the middle of it for $1 million, and I don't give a rat's ass about how much money they're getting paid for. It's dumb.
The attraction of all the other tournaments is that teams are playing teams that they don't normally play. Yes. You have a 1 versus a 16, a 2. You're talking about small schools, big schools from different conferences that come together that haven't played. In the NBA, you play everybody.
Yes.
This doesn't make any difference. I don't get it a little bit.
No, and I think what you're going to see is you're going to have some guys out there that have the clout to do so kind of push back on it. And not push back on it, but like belittle it.
So do you think we're going to see that when it happens?
Absolutely. I think if you see, like, hypothetically speaking, like a Denver Nuggets team, I'll use the Lakers. If the Lakers end up losing in the quote first round of this tournament, you really think LeBron's going to be heartbroken about it? No, he's going to be like, "Oh, what? I don't really care. Our goal is the NBA Finals. Our goal is the NBA championship. The Larry O'Brien, not this fake made-up trophy that they're going to give us."
How would you like?
It ain't going to happen this year.
And
Players won't speak out this year. Sorry, John.
You don't believe they will?
I think there will be a mandate. Like, look, guys, need you to buy all in. This is good for the league.
Isn't that great? We need a mandate to because they know at that point.
I
that
hear
it's
you.
Bad publicity.
So my point before was something good is happening for someone. I don't think we know the who or the what yet. Now, is it money? Of course, it's always money. That's what comes into play. But why exactly? How exactly? Really? Did Adam Silver go to somebody and say, we're just not cutting it making $10 billion a year. Like, we got to think of something new. And somebody said, how about an in-season tournament? He says, you know what? That works for the NCAA, too. A lot of money. Yeah, good. Really?
I don't
know. I don't know what it is.
And what it's going to annoy me is when Adam Silver comes out and does the PR spin telling the media that there's so many fans that he's talked to that love this idea. No, you haven't. First of all, Adam Silver's not talking to fans. He's probably sequestered somewhere in a bulletproof room.
He looks like a Bond villain, but he's a good dude. I've interviewed him a couple times.
Look,
He's a very good dude.
I'm sure he's great.
I like him a lot. Very good.
I'm sure
dude.
he's great. Other than the whole Colangelo thing, I think he's a phenomenal person. Colangelo thing, I think he's a scumbag. But but he's going to do the whole PR spin, and I've heard the PR spin from guys like Gary Bettman.
Right.
And I'm not going to believe that all of a sudden there's a lot of fans out there that are like, in-season tournament. It's a lot like when the Sixers won the Summer League during the process era. You're going to see a lot of fans out there making fake banners and making a mockery of it because it's nothing more than a regular season game.
Here's the theory. So the tournament is a Thursday night and a Saturday night in Vegas. So that means the NBA has to have every NBA team has to be off. Minimum Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And my guess is Wednesday and Sunday also. So that's a 5-day gap where you have to leave it open because any team in the NBA could have ended up into that. So the schedule can't have games on it. So to me, what about the NBA team that says we wouldn't mind having a 5-day vacation right before Christmas?
Lose the game for a 5-day vacation?
Yep. And go to Vegas, by the way. Go to Vegas and watch it.
Yeah, I mean, don't.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
the lure of Vegas isn't just for the fans. Let's not, put
players,
that aside.
But I mean,
exactly.
a 5-day vacation for a team that's like for the Denver Nuggets. Would they rather have a 5-day vacation in December, or would they rather play in this tournament and try to win it?
Sure. And the players that are going to be in it, like the LeBron James, they're going to say, yeah, this is just a great tune-up. We learn how to win. We learn how to win championships, and this will carry us through to the end of the year. That's all the stuff you're going to hear from this tournament this year, I believe. I don't think you're going to hear players complaining.
See, I think LeBron, though, is Harry Hard-on. He'll try to win it.
Yeah,
I think there's
can't
differences.
fault him for that.
No, but I think he's the guy who will be like, I want to win this thing.
What's going to be interesting,
because he's a hyper-competitive guy. It's good.
What's going to be interesting is when you have guys like LeBron and KD and the older guys in the league who sit out for load management. And it's going to be interesting to what Bob talked about with the mandates. Does the league mandate that they have to play? Because you see them sit out all the time in regular season games, and that's what we're being told. Hey, it counts as the same regular season game, but it's an in-season. So if you're LeBron, to your point, and you're tired, and your knees are acting up,
you want to take a break, get a vacation.
But then you've got the NBA telling you, no, you can't take a break. You have to get in there and play because we need to make this thing a thing.
It's amazing. And it's we'll see how successful it is, but I know that I'll be the hypocrite that says, why are they doing this? And then I'll be like, oh, I'm really looking forward to watching it.
Yeah,
I don't know about really looking forward. I'll watch it.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll tell you right now, I will not watch it.
You won't?
No.
Look at you.
I won't.
Pat's saying, I'm taking a stand.
No, you got hockey going on and other sports.
That's true. The Eagles are blessed, and they're really blessed in this number. Wait till I give you these numbers on Devontae Smith. John Kincade Show, 97.5 The Fanatic. If you're getting ready to move or you're finally going to organize your
97.5 The Fanatic. Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
So damn proud.
John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic.
So damn proud.
Appreciate you being a part of the show. Tell your family, tell your friends. Hang out with us as often as you can. Follow us on YouTube. Watch us. You can go back and watch the show on YouTube, too. What's wrong, Bob? What's wrong?
I don't know. It seems like Pat's trying to get in my ear, but he's not getting in my ear.
See that?
Were you trying to talk to me?
I was trying to sing to you.
Oh, I didn't hear you singing. All I heard was
Usually coming back, and the listener doesn't know this, but usually coming back from the break, I like to
he serenades me.
You'll sing a little
serenade
bit,
him,
right?
yeah, a la like a Marilyn Monroe, JFK type thing. To
Yeah,
kind of get Bob in the right mindset, get him in the mood, and with this
In the
mic,
mood for the segment.
yeah. Well,
Okay.
whatever he wants to be in the mood for, I don't care. We just need a good product, and hopefully we get it. But with this whole mic situation, I guess he can't hear me.
No, I couldn't hear anything.
It's a travesty.
I know. It is.
It's not good.
So
you know?
if Bob sucks this segment, you know why.
Yeah,
By the way, I
didn't get my
blame
groove on.
I blame Pat Egan.
What did I do this time?
Well, you did something because I said I'm not an ice creamsman, and on 4th of July I had ice cream.
Okay. What kind do we have?
I had Barack Obama, and I have the same favorite ice cream,
Rum raisin.
the green mint chocolate chip.
I'm a big mint chocolate chip
The
fan.
green one, not the chocolate mint chocolate chip. The green with the
Yeah,
chocolate.
that's a go-to.
And
Mint chocolate chip is green. Chocolate chip mint is white.
is white.
Yes.
We do the green.
Right.
President Obama
My
said
favorite
once.
ice cream by far.
That's mine too.
Yeah.
See, you, me, and Obama. We're like, this is and not Mo Bamba, too. Let's
No.
make that clear. And I had it on 4th of July. I never crave ice cream. And I don't know, maybe it's the poison in my body as I'm poisoning myself. Last night around 6 o'clock, I just wanted ice cream. I did not go get it.
Oh, well.
We did
dude,
not, because it's a little bit of a drive.
Don't deprive yourself.
But I swear to you, I wanted ice cream. I never want ice cream. My wife goes, you never once in 21 years of marriage have said, ice cream. That's what I want. Let's go get it. And I wanted to get up off the couch and go get ice cream. I blame you. You put it in my head.
That's a daily struggle for me.
Gosh, it's good. It is good.
Ice cream doesn't suck.
Went to the
Bob's headline.
There's like a local
Yeah.
ice cream place near me that I've gone to quite a bit recently.
And wait a minute, it's not the one in my old neighborhood?
No, it's not the one in Ardmore.
Not in Ardmore?
I do like that a lot.
Which is a great
one. No, this one's right on Ridge Ave, I want to say.
Okay, really good.
CNC Creamery.
Ooh.
Yeah, because they make their own stuff and it's very good. And
Were they a music group in the before?
yeah, and then they had one hit
The one hit.
called the Mix-Ins, and then didn't have a second hit, so they started an ice cream company.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. But all I could think of was ice cream. Mint chocolate chip. I just wanted some mint
You should
chocolate
have just gone out and gotten
No,
yourself
I didn't want to
some.
drive. I didn't want to do
Usually,
it.
when I if I'm going to a place that has the usuals,
Right.
and not like the wacky flavors, but the usual stuff, I usually will get one scoop mint chocolate chip, and then another scoop will be something else.
Wow, so we all love mint chocolate chip?
Yeah, I'm a big mint chocolate chip fan. So usually I'll go like mint chocolate chip, Rocky Road.
It's awesome.
The other day I went mint chocolate chip and s'mores because I'm a huge s'mores fan.
Yeah, and that's we part on that one.
Yeah, that's just living. I mean, don't deprive your body of
Yeah,
what
I
it
got to do
wants.
it. Well, I've got the one of the side effects of the chemo that's going on right now is the metal taste in my mouth. It's come in finally, so I can't even use a metal fork right now. I taste
Using
metal.
plastic.
So now Christina went and got these. She's so awesome. She went and got me the heavy gauge plastic knives and forks that are like probably triple what a normal fork or knife is. So I don't have that, but like metal taste. Like yesterday I had a Gatorade and I spit some of it out because the whatever it was, the Gatorade was hitting my tongue and it just tasted terrible. You never know what food's going to taste terrible.
Yeah.
When I did it the first time, I couldn't have tomato sauce or anything like that.
Bob's on that.
Now I'm fine though. I was fine.
Bob has that same problem.
Bob doesn't like tomatoes.
No, but I made gravy yesterday and meatballs and sauce. Man, I was a
Relax.
cooking fool yesterday.
When did you start in the morning? So was the whole
I did.
house smelled of
So
it?
I was I wasn't the only one home. The kids were sleeping. Donna had a shower, so I was the only one home. So yeah, I started the gravy at around noon, and then I added sausage. I cooked sausage at the same time. I added the sausage to it immediately, and then I made my meatballs and then put them in there a little bit later. And I'll tell you what, my meatballs yesterday
were fantastic.
Yeah.
Now a little crusty bread with it, Italian bread with it, or no?
Yeah, had some. Yeah, absolutely have to have that.
Hey, Staples stores provide innovative products and services for small business, remote workers, and learners, even teachers and parents. You can explore more at your local Staples store. By the way, a shout out to Rodney, our own Rodney Bird, and his fire department over there in Radnor. Took care of friends of mine, the Robinsons, yesterday. Had a tree go through their house during the storms.
Oh, man.
And the Radnor fire department and everything came on over and tried to help out, take care of business and everything like that. It's there are a lot of people out there doing stuff. Chief Dan yesterday, Pat, by the way, his car, I think, totaled. He got hit.
No.
He got hit by somebody running a light in Bryn Mawr. But Chief Dan is hopefully feeling all right. He's going to be a little sore today. But and then what did he do? He went to work because the storms were going on and had to be there. So people who are like firemen, things like that, they can't, their car gets totaled. They have to go to work.
It's like one of our listeners who I text with is a detective, and when we were talking about a shooting or something.
Is that the guy that we met at the PJs? That is retired?
No,
a different one.
No,
okay.
This is a different one. And when you and I one day were talking about something sad that happened in the city, he said, yeah, you know what's different? People run away from shootings. I run towards them. And, so firefighters, policemen, all you people that do all these things, you're not thanked enough.
We're thanking teachers today, nurses, cops, and it's unbelievable.
Radio producers.
Ice cream makers.
Yep.
There, too. So, do you know how blessed they are, the Eagles, to have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith? Now, look, A.J. seems to get, to me, all the first-level praise when everybody talks about what the Eagles are. And Smith set the all-time single-season receptions mark last year. After the first year he was here, he set the rookie season record. But I was looking at the numbers for Devontae Smith, which are pretty amazing. And if you think about it, what he's done in 2 years is really incredible. And when I put it in this perspective for you, I think it's even going to be bigger. Right now, he has 159 career receptions as a Philadelphia Eagle. Do you know what's a good number, Pat, that we could assume that he's going to get to? So he had 159. He has 159 going into his third year. What's a good number for Devontae Smith that we could just pencil in and feel real safe, barring injury and everything like that? Would you say 80 is the safe number, like a floor?
Yeah, I would say 90.
Okay, you say 90. Bob, you think 90 is the number?
I'll go 85 floor.
Okay.
Just because he has to share.
Okay, so we're talking about him ending up around 250 receptions through 3 years. If he ends up with 250 receptions, this is who he's going to be past for his career. Right now, he would have passed Dallas Goedert's number of 248 going into this year. He would be better than Keith Jackson. He'd be better than L.J. Smith. He'd be better than Chad Lewis. He'd be better than Irving Fryer. He'd be better than Todd Pinkston, Reggie Brown, Alshon Jeffrey, Riley Cooper. He moves up into a number where he'll be right behind Tommy McDonald, Deuce Staley, Wilbert Montgomery, and John Spagnuolo. In 3 years here. He's going to be, and if he had another year like that in his fourth year, he's going to be a top 10 all-time receiver, maybe top 8 in 4 years as an Eagle. I think Devontae Smith doesn't get enough love. I really do. I think A.J. Brown gets all the hype. I don't think Devontae Smith gets enough love.
He's going to have to live with it. And I don't know if it's not enough love. I think it's just 1 and 1A. He's a Batman. And so is the other guy he plays wide receiver with. This might be the best 1-2 tandem this city has in any sport.
Well, it's the all-time best Eagle 1-2 tandem, correct?
Yeah,
it is.
Did it pop into your mind, Pat? But John, as you were reading those names, I was kind of laughing.
How weak the receiving numbers
I was just
are?
like, wow, look how bad this receiving core has been. Now, you mentioned some good tight ends, but the receiving core of this city has just not been all that great. Now it's just absolutely spectacular. I think he gets the love. He just has to share it a little bit. It's like being a couple. I love John and Christine, or I love Pat and his wife. But you're not getting the individual love. It's going to have to come in a group. That's just the way it is. I think he's okay with it. I think I said last week he's going to have a more spectacular season than A.J. Brown. I told you I think he's going to be the lead receiver this year. Could be. That's a little bold. I mean, he catches everything. He does. This wide receiver tandem is so
unbelievable.
Cool. Yeah.
And now if you throw Swift in there, his passing game gets really crazy. I'm anxious about that to see. Not anxious in a bad way. I'm excited, I should say. I don't think they're going to we're looking for it, and we think it can happen. I don't know if they're going to dial up a running back catching the ball out of the backfield all that often. I just don't. Not with these two receivers, not with Goddard, not with the running ability, escapability of Jalen Hurts. I don't know. I would love if they do, but I don't want to take anything away from Devontae Smith or A.J. Brown or Dallas Goddard either. And I'm not taking away from. I'm not trying to take away from A.J. No, I'm not saying you are. No, I get it. Yeah. But it's just the idea that I'm going. I don't think he gets enough. I don't think he gets enough love and appreciation. I mean, he's like, as far as the leads on this team, I think he always ends up being like fourth, fifth talked about. And he may end up being he could end up being an all-time great Eagle. Yeah. Like best receiver they ever had by the time this is done, which is incredible to me. And A.J. Brown, too, could push him. And the two of them could push each other. There it is. You said he could be the all-time best receiver the Eagles ever had. And you can say, oh, and so could the other guy he's playing with. So, Love, he gets it, but he's just as you just said, it's got to be shared because the other guy across the way might be just as good as him or better. And he is pretty incredible. So, the Eagles receiving core, just awesome. 8 o'clock hour, the John Kincade Show. Glad you're with us and hanging out with us today. Pat thinks that there was a really classy move by Doc Rivers.
This is Pat's point of view. Here's Pat.
I do, yeah.
And I love Doc for this, but what is it?
So Patrick Beverley was talking on his podcast, and he talked about why he signed with the Sixers. And one of the reasons why he signed with the Sixers was Doc Rivers. So I guess Doc Rivers and Patrick Beverley are really, really close. He calls him like a father figure and all. Patrick Beverley probably had his best seasons in L.A. when Doc was the head coach. And I guess when it comes down to life decisions, Patrick Beverley always runs stuff by Doc Rivers. So when the Sixers offered him the contract, Patrick Beverley, the first person he called was Doc Rivers. One, to see if he would be okay with him signing with the Sixers because he just got fired. But two, the whole situation there. Now, Doc Rivers could have went two ways with this. He could have bashed the organization and said, you don't want to play there. It's a dumpster fire and the organization's in flux. But he didn't. And he said, no, that's the place you want to go. They need you. And I think you'll love playing there. And I just thought it was a really classy move by Doc, who got let go. And there's a decent amount of people that go, he didn't deserve to get fired. But he kind of took the high road with the situation. And he had no idea that Patrick Beverley was going to tell this story. But after Patrick Beverley talked to Doc Rivers, Patrick Beverley called his agent and was like, yeah, I don't need to hear anything else. I'm going to Philly.
That's awesome. That is good.
So I thought it was a classy move by Doc.
As you guys know, I was all for the hiring of Doc Rivers. I knew him a little bit from, being in the league before. And everything that you just described about Doc Rivers was exactly what I thought of him. Real classy guy, up front, knew his basketball, all of those things. I'll say this. I don't think Philly was a real good fit for him. And it was both ways. I don't think the city fit him, and I don't think he fit the city. He said things and acted in ways that I hadn't seen before from a Doc Rivers, and it surprised me when he was here. Was it frustration and, I don't know, maybe the way he was coaching wasn't getting heard or the players he had didn't fit to his style? I don't know what it was, but he seemed to be a different Doc Rivers to me a little bit when he was here than the one I knew from other teams.
I don't think he enjoyed here.
I don't know.
Because a few times he called out the fans.
I think he enjoyed it.
He called out the fan base a few times.
That that does happen. We're not the easiest fan base to struggle in front of.
That's fair. That's fair.
At times, what we view as struggling, athletes and coaches view as a rough patch that we're overdoing a little bit in terms of our sky is falling mentality. Doc Rivers comes in not realizing that we sat through the process and a bunch of second round exits. He's coming in fresh, and we're sitting there antsy to see them get out of the second round. So for him, when they don't get out of the second round in year one, it's like, for him, he's like, all right, okay. We'll still building this thing, and we're sitting there going, dude, what the hell again?
Dude, time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the
so,
Judge Judy.
I don't necessarily blame him for popping off at times. Yeah, I was a fan of the hiring as well. It didn't work. I was okay with them letting him go, but do we ever hear this story if he batched the organization? Probably not. Pat Beverly's not here and all that, but I was just impressed with the taking the high road in this situation. It tells you too that Doc Rivers doesn't hold a grudge with getting let go.
Yeah, and that's the guy that I
love that.
I anticipated coming here and all. I don't know if there was. It's tough when maybe he's dealing with a media group that he really didn't get along with or disagreed with or whatever, and having to deal with them every day. I've seen that in different cities throughout, whatever it may be. I don't know, but it doesn't shock me that he did it. You're right, Pat. It's a good thing, unless what Kevin Ridd says on our YouTube. Doc knows Pat is done and sent him here anyway. Yeah.
Jeez.
That would be that's I guess a scary reality too.
Kevin, stop it. That's funny though.
That's a
good line.
Like a villain origin story right there.
Yeah, right.
That's a good. So he's sending the Trojan horse.
Exactly.
But you're right. That is a classy move, and he's exuded nothing but class. It's why when there's social issues going on around the country and all, he's one of the first people in the NBA that's asked about it and to comment on it and on. He's very level-headed and has seen all aspects of not only the NBA game, but how he grew up and all of it. So, the classiness part of this, Pat, you're right. It is there, and it doesn't surprise me.
That's really good news, though. Good job. Coach.
I'll tell you right now, I don't know if I'd be that mature.
Well, he's got like 30 years on you, so there's time
Pat,
for you yet.
I think the difference is the money and the lifestyle.
Yeah,
Coach has earned his way to a great lifestyle, and I don't think that he has anything to gain by being a turd on the way out the door.
Well,
but a lot of guys would be. Yeah,
behind closed doors, a lot of guys would be.
Sure.
And it is a different situation. Like, I joke that I'm not mature enough, but the reality is this guy's getting paid to not coach this season. He got fired, and the contract's for another 2 years. So he's living a pretty good life. But you have a private conversation with a guy on the phone. Hey, what's this place like? Some guys aren't going to take the high road, and some guys will be. Some would take it as brutally honest, but some guys are going to go, yeah, dude, you don't want to go there. Like, this dude's a prima donna. This dude's got 1 foot out the door. The GM doesn't know what he's doing, and the owner's X, Y, and Z. But I thought, as a Sixers fan, I was like, this is actually a really good sign because he didn't know this conversation was going to get out, and he thinks this is a good situation for a veteran to go to. Or
he just is
Trojan horse.
He's just being kind.
See, and that's the thing. I don't think I think if this was public, I think I agree with you. He's taking the high road but this was a conversation between mentor and mentee, and he doesn't have anything to gain by being kind to Patrick Beverly. Beverly seems like the guy that wants the brutal honesty, and that's why Doc is his mentor. So I don't see a situation where Doc's going to sugarcoat it and go, yeah, this is a great situation for you, when he knows it's not. I think he said it because he really does believe it's a great situation.
Have they come up with Doris Burke? Has she been named or not? Because I had a few people say to me they thought Doc Rivers might get Jeff Van Gundy's old job.
That would be dumb. Nothing against Doc Rivers, but Doris Burke is right there. You promote her, you make her number one, and you put Doc in where Doris was.
Agreed.
That's fine. Like that professionally, professionally, that's what you should do. She certainly has earned it. She is certainly good enough to be the number one color analyst on that station. I wouldn't like it if they brought anybody in to go number one over her. She should automatically, be bumped up.
The only thing being is that they do a lot of market research, and there are still a lot of guys who probably are living in their cave, because I like Doris Burke. Like, as far as an analyst, I enjoy her work, that aren't big on having a female analyst as the lead analyst. And I think she does a fantastic job. Now,
yeah, she's terrific.
But the thing is, though, I enjoyed Coach Van Gundy.
Yeah.
And I fully expect he's going to end up at TNT.
He says he wants to get back into coaching.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, he came out with that this weekend. That
good for him. I mean, with some of the guys coaching, he could easily get another shot. He could easily get one other opportunity. And Hubie is still doing it at, 88? 87? Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, it's unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
That they're still doing. I think Hubie's going to be, that chair is going to be available soon. Like, not because Hubie's going anywhere, but just that you can't have a guy, I don't think you can, doing that job.
You could have said that 10 years ago, I think.
Yeah. Some would say that, absolutely.
Yeah.
But
the guy just demands or commands respect. I'll never forget when he came to a Sixers practice one time. We were down in what's it called? Down the shore. It was training camp.
Okay.
And he came in and I mean, it was like a bead of honey. The people could not flock to him more. And I'm talking, players, executives, coaches. It was and he just sat there and held court for like 25 minutes.
Wait a minute, down the shore, where did they have?
Where the hell was that? The Ospreys. Why is it leaving my head? Stockton. Stockton University.
Really?
Yeah, because they had dual courts there.
So they just decided to.
So they decided to go down there, and they stayed at one of the country clubs down there, and they made it a pretty nice time. Yeah.
But so Sixers are going to be over the luxury tax.
Yeah.
So there'll be. So they're doing it for Paul Reed. I'm glad Paul Reed's back, because I want to see, and Pat was talking about it yesterday on social media, I want to see what Paul Reed can develop into, because we've seen too many people walk out the door, and we've gotten to see them achieve somewhere else.
Yeah, and it's not superstars, but
Right.
it's valuable rotation pieces that the Sixers were unwilling to develop. And a lot of it, by the way, was under the Hinkie era. You guys know I'm a Hinkie guy.
And Doc too, maybe.
But like, they would usher out the Isaiah Joes, the Charles Bassies. Who was the center from Bowling Green, Bob? That they
Oh
traded
my
to the
gosh,
Kings? Rashawn Holmes.
Rashawn Holmes.
Yeah, over Amir Johnson. Like they
that's one of my biggest arguments.
Yeah, and they would choose the veteran who was cooked because he was a veteran over the younger player who might make mistakes but could be your future rotational piece. And I really thought last night, all right, this is another example of that. Montrezl Harrell is here, the cooked vet that nobody understood why they made that move, and B-Ball Paul is going to go to Utah, and he's going to put up decent numbers, like a la Rashawn Holmes when he got traded.
I'll tell you what, the Paul Reed stuff yesterday, I was reading your tweets last night, and Jamie's also, when it looked like he wasn't going to be back here. And I had just written a column a couple of days before saying, wonder what it would be like maybe in the starting lineup. I didn't have a rat's ass and give a rat's ass one way or the other last night. If I woke up this morning and he was gone, if I woke up this morning and he stayed, I really didn't realize it until this morning. It was just like...
It really didn't mean much.
So I don't know if that apathy that I've been talking about with this team has crept in more to me than I even realized.
And this guy thinks he's a basketball guy?
Seriously. He doesn't even watch Eddie.
He doesn't care one way or the other.
Pat, he hasn't even seen Eddie.
That's a good
Let's
point.
be honest.
Like,
hey,
come on, dude.
Who's the coach in Eddie?
Whoopi Goldberg, man.
Goldberg.
Maybe
She
that's why I haven't
coached
seen it.
Stacey Patton.
Bob, you watch The View every day instead of watching Price is Right.
No, I do
Stacey
not watch
Patton
The
talked about
View.
himself in the third person in that movie.
Yeah? Nah.
John Sally was in that movie.
John Sally was, yes.
Say, John.
Hey, John Kincade Show continues, and we're going to play a little game. And it's about the baseball season. And it will sort of mock what you'll probably hear on sports radio here in this market various times today. John Kincade Show. Hopefully your Monday is going well. John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. Appreciate you being with us. You know, Philadelphia Union fans, join Jamie Lynch at PJ Wellaghan's Downingtown this Saturday, starting at 6:30 p.m. for a pregame event with Union swag giveaways, including tickets to a match. Watch the Union take on New York FC and enjoy Coors Light on special. For details, visit the events page on 97.5thefanatic.com. Now, Jamie will be out at the Downingtown PJ Wellaghan's this Saturday, and I can tell you that is a duped-up PJ's. They get huge crowds for the Union games.
Yeah.
Like great crowds for Union
Their following is pretty impressive.
It's incredible.
I've done a couple Union things over the last month on Wednesday nights, and it's incredible.
I love it. I mean, it's great. Now, Coach, I'm not sure. Are they having goaltender tryouts today?
Yeah, I think
down in Chester.
I'm up next. Jeez,
You're gonna have seriously.
Look, I said this to Bob earlier today. They're the best goalkeeper in the league, Andre Blake, who is the Union's goalkeeper, is playing for his country in the Gold Cup for Jamaica, and I'm happy for him.
Yes.
I think it's awesome to be able to play in the Olympics, for the U.S., for the Gold Cup, for your country. But the MLS pays your salary. And if the MLS is going to allow all of their really good players to go play for their countries, then they should take a break from MLS play.
Yes.
And they're not. And Andre Blake has missed, like four matches or so far. And no offense to Joe Bendick, who's their backup goalkeeper, but, I mean, come on.
Anytime you say no offense, you're offending.
Well, he had to have a
Let's
better...
be honest.
Why did they not have a better plan is what I'm asking you.
Well, their backup, Matt Freese, left last year. He was their backup. He was pretty good. So Joe Bendick is actually their third string that moved up to second string, and now he's their number one goalkeeper while Blake is gone. And, yeah, they miss Andre Blake.
Well, when's Blake coming back?
I don't know. Jamaica's still in it.
And by the way, my wife's family, they're all over in Kingston going crazy. Because Blake, people don't realize, if I was to describe to you how Andre Blake is in Kingston, my wife's hometown, he's every bit Bryce Harper there that Bryce Harper is here. Andre Blake rolling around Kingston, Jamaica. He is Bryce Harper.
In fairness to Bend It Like Bendick, how many of those 3 goals did he let up? How many of those would Andre Blake have saved?
All of them.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
I'm asking I don't know. Like, was it an obvious?
I saw some softies.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was like an obvious, like, no one's getting that, or if it was, as you said, a
Oh, no. It was an Andre Blake would have had that more times than not.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will shut my mic off.
Okay, good.
Yeah, shut it off, Pat. Okay. No, but don't, though, because we're going to play a little game here. Now, today is the All-Star break. And having been involved in listening, working in Philly sports radio for a long time, in the beginning and the end now, instead of the Philly sports radio staple, which is the Monday of the All-Star break, let's give a first half grade to the Phillies. What do you think their first half grade is? C+? Call us and tell us. We're going to do a little differently here. Think of the year-end awards that Pat, maybe Shan has given out over time. I'm sure Jamie's wife has. Think of the year-end awards sometimes teachers give out to kids. Like the hardest worker, best attitude, the friendly face award, things like that. Think of those kind of like sort of nebulous awards. Would you have any you can think of for this Phillies roster? As far as the best newcomer or whatever that a teacher might give out to a kid to just make them feel good about themselves at the halfway point.
Yes.
Okay, what do you got in your mind?
The plays well with other awards goes to Bryson Stott for me.
Okay, tell that. I like this one.
The dumping of the water, which seems stupid, whatever. But they really buy into it. What last year was a shortstop. Sometimes this year's totally second baseman. Has been bounced around the lineup all over the place, and all the guy does is hit, and all the guy does is get better, and all the guy does is have his teammates like him. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Bryson Stott plays well with others award.
I'm going to do the Bounce Back Award or the Great Attitude Award. Great Attitude Award. Nick Castellanos. He had every reason coming into this year to be like, you know what? Screw these people. I had a tough year last year. They're booing me. They're picking on me. And look what happens. Nick Castellanos has put together an amazing, amazing year. That means good attitude, good mindset going to work, that he was ready to show up every day and perform. So congratulations to Nick Castellanos. Give him a little certificate and maybe like a little candy bar or something. I don't know what the teachers give out nowadays.
I don't either.
I don't know if they're allowed to give out some of the things. So
I'm going to also give out the toughest player award to Bryce Harper for coming back more than a month earlier than he was supposed to after having Tommy John surgery.
That's a good one.
And now trying to get out to first base so he can get Schwarber out of the field. So yeah, I'm going to I tossed it up between hardest worker. I might change it. I'm going to give Bryce Harper hardest worker.
Pat, what about a couple? I know you have some certificates over there.
I came up with one. If you give me a little bit longer, I can come up with a couple others. But the one that I came up with was the Generosity Award. And that goes to Aaron Nola for giving up home runs to not only the hitter, but also to giving the fans a little memento to walk home with.
So they can go home with it, something.
Yeah. And I think that's really generous of him.
I think 18 of his 20 starts, he's given up home runs.
I was going to give him the Meatballs Award. Because, man, while Bob was serving up the meatballs yesterday afternoon, Aaron Nola had already done that. And I still had people arguing me on Twitter going, you're blaming Aaron Nola? Oh, my gosh. You people are such lapdogs. You are serious lapdogs. Yeah, when Nola's pitching this team to a World Series, yeah, look, he had three spectacular starts at the end of last year. 3. Amazing. And then he had some mediocre ones. Look, he does that. He's the light bulb that doesn't connect fully. That's what he did. And you can applaud when he's good, and we do. We applauded him last week, but you tear him apart when it's bad because it's just he's bad all the time. It's just, and Wheeler's not giving them what they need.
He's not bad all the time.
No, but I mean, every single few weeks he's going to have a bad start. Absolutely. Every third start, there's going to be a clunker.
Yeah, I have zero confidence in going into an Aaron Nola game, but just because I don't know what I'm getting. I'll give the Clutch Award to Alec Bohm. I mean, that guy seems to.
I like
that. Seems like every game he seems to be coming up with
leading the team in RBIs.
Yeah, and he's a guy that when runners are in scoring position, I get pretty pumped for to see what he's going to do because he seems to drive him in. And Bob, what did you give Stott? What was it? Plays well with others.
Yes,
I'll give him the hardest worker award. Not necessarily.
I already gave that out.
No,
you're giving one out.
But Pat can give it out.
Okay.
This is my class. This is world history. This is AP history over here, all right?
Oh, you're teaching AP?
Yeah, I'm teaching AP, obviously.
Oh, my God.
I'll give him that, and not necessarily that he works harder than anybody else, but in terms of grinding out the at-bats, and I've talked about that a lot the past couple weeks, he works really, really hard in terms of getting that pitch count up.
I was going to give him Smartest Hitter Award, maybe.
Pat, I shouldn't mock you about that.
I'm giving 2 awards on this one.
What's that?
Team Spirit Awards.
Oh, who's that?
Oh, I think I know who you're going with.
It goes Brandon Marsh.
That's a great one.
And Garrett Stubbs.
I was going to say Garrett Stubbs is definitely one of them.
He's great.
Yeah.
For that.
They do. They just seem like guys you want to hang with. Was it him that had an interview and they were talking about, like, what are you doing your off time? He's like, I'm like everybody else, man. I drink beer with my boys and hang out.
Yeah, he's definitely the perfect backup catcher.
He is.
You can put him there once every 10 days.
Great attitude.
He gets the job done, but more than anything, he just keeps the locker room so loose. I think back to the interview he did maybe last September or October where he's like, man, this team just loves coffee. We're so beamed up. And it's just, I mean, you know, if he's making us laugh probably in interviews, he's probably making his teammates laugh. And I think in a long season like baseball, which is such a grind, having a guy like Garrett Stubbs around is crucial to team success.
I'm calling him back up. Just after I gave him that award, I'm going to say, Garrett, come back. We have another one for you. Player who least looks like his playing position.
Yes.
That's a great point.
He does
That's a great
not
one. No, he
look like
doesn't.
a catcher. He looks like a AA second baseman.
I would like to give an award. It's called the I Don't Suck Award.
Okay.
To Christian Pache.
Yeah, he sort of taught you a lesson.
He did. Now, my feeling with Pache was if the Oakland A's are giving up on you, that's probably pretty damning. You know, Pache was a top prospect with the Braves. The Braves traded him to the A's. The A's, a team that desperately needs cheap young talent, said, yeah, this guy can't play. And I foolishly said, yeah, he can't play. And credit to the organization because Kevin Long, who's taken a lot of heat from me as well, but he's worked with Pache, and now it's gotten to the point where when he comes up, I'm not dreading the at-bat. And I don't think it's going to be an automatic out. And if they can find something in him that, his defense is already there, but if they can find something in him at the plate as well, where he can kind of be a rotational guy and then move into possibly a starting lineup spot in a year or two, that would be big. But I thought he sucked, and he doesn't suck.
He's my blind.
What's the line in Pulp Fiction? Let's not start.
Well,
the guy's had 49 at bats. He's a career 179 hitter.
You don't like him.
No, I'm not saying I don't like him.
Don't give me the career. I don't care about the career. I care about what he's done with the Phillies.
I hear you.
What's his Phillies career?
I'm very happy.
This is the same argument I heard about the.
Listen to the award you're giving him.
No. You've had your time. Okay, this is my class.
You don't suck.
This is my
AP,
class.
Bob.
Yeah, this is AP.
This is AP.
Right? You want to teach the track 3 kids? Go ahead. In AP, we do it differently.
Wait a minute. Do they still have track 3?
Trust me. Well, they did when I was in school.
Okay.
Because I was there. When you look at this, is the same argument that people that are against the B-Ball Paul said is, he's averaged 3.7 points in his career. You can't look at the career, Bobby. You got to look at what he's done in Philly. You got to look at what B-Ball Paul's done when he's thrust in the starting lineup. And when Christian Pache has been in Philadelphia, he has been productive.
How many times has B-Ball Paul been in the starting lineup?
Enough for me to say I'm pumped.
4.
I'm pumped. And he's averaged double-doubles, close to it. He averaged 9 rebounds.
Father Corkery used to say in Russian history, if you guys don't shut up, I'm going to knock you down to the third rail. He called the track 3 the third rail.
Yeah, track 3 had its positives and its negatives. Negatives when it came to all the rejection letters I got for college. The positives were we were able to eat pretzels in class. That was cool.
See, that's not bad. Bob, did Camden Catholic have track 3, track 4, track 1, track 2, honors?
I don't.
You don't remember that?
I don't know. I just did the middle of the road.
You were a track 2
You were a track 2 kid.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Track 2 kids went to college.
Huh.
They did.
They did. Look what they became. They became skilled, authors and everything. I'm going to give you one too. Is that there's one more. I'm going to give one the Tries Hard Award. Give you that one. Tries Hard Award. I'm going to ask you to guess who I'm giving it to.
Stott could earn that one. He does try hard.
Yeah, but trying hard sort of insinuates you're not getting the results.
You're going to say JT Real Muto.
No, I'm going to say Cody Clemens.
Cody Clemens.
Oh.
Very good, Pat.
He's not on the
Even
team
though he's
anymore.
down now in the minors. No, we're mailing him the certificate.
Okay, yeah, I hope he's
And
happy to get that.
how about nicest surprise?
I would throw him in there, yeah, absolutely.
Craig Kimbrell.
Yeah, that's a very
I
good
thought you
one.
were saying Cody Clemens was the nicest
Cody
surprise.
he was the Cody Clemens was the other one.
Yeah,
So
no,
he
I thought you were giving Cody both.
Oh no, I'm giving that to Craig Kimbrell.
Nicest surprise. That's a good question.
Because when Craig Kimbrell was signed, it was met with a collective yawn in this city.
So Coach just said Castellanos for nicest surprise.
Yeah, I already gave him one, Coach, so I'm not giving him 2.
I don't want
one kid going home without an award.
I expected Castellanos to rebound.
Last year was more of a surprise than this year.
Yeah.
It's 2023.
Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Yes. Last year was more of a surprise than this year.
This is what Castellanos kind of has been and was and what we expected. Last year, I thought, hopefully this time next year, we're saying last year was more a surprise of Trey Turner than this year is.
Yes.
Hopefully.
It's 2023. We can't let a kid go home without an award.
What award positively can you give Trey Turner?
He's been terrible in the field.
Has he played every game?
He's been mediocre. How about this? He's been mediocre in the field.
He has not played every game.
And
I can't give him an award.
I can't give him an award.
Wow.
He can. You know what? He can go home and his mom can write me a letter and say his psyche was ruined because he didn't get one. No, I think he's been an utter disappointment. But I don't believe.
Yes,
but I don't believe it's going to last.
Yeah,
it'll come back.
It's like Castellanos last year.
Well, I have much.
I hope it doesn't last the entire season like Castellanos did last year, but it's.
I have much more faith, Pat, though, that Trey Turner's going to rebound than I did that Castellanos would rebound. I thought Castellanos would be better, and I think we may have put it in the journal or not, that I thought he'd improve in every offensive category. But I didn't think it was going to be this. Never saw this coming. In fact, I would have bet anything against it on the Bet Parks app that he would have been this improved.
We can give him, Turner, there's one game he hasn't played, so we can give him kind of an attendance award maybe.
Almost a perfect attendance. Yes. But I mean,
it's better than the You Don't Suck award.
And again, it's like JT Realmuto. I believe JT Realmuto will rebound in the second half and get things closer to his baseball card. But when people are still trotting out BCIB, they're not paying attention.
But
they're just not. He's not.
He is.
No, he isn't.
He was the best catcher in baseball last year.
But he's not this year. He's not.
Okay, it's
I mean, it's
88
not.
games.
That's what I'm saying. I do believe he's going to get closer to his baseball card. I do think that's where he's going to get. But you can't tell me he's the best in baseball.
Who is?
Right? I'd take Sean Murphy over him right now in a second. Alex Anthopoulos. You want to make that deal? I'll take it right now. Mm-mm. Batting .306 with 17 home runs and 55.
Now, yeah, but if you talk about overall the best catcher in baseball, I think unequivocally, just as a roundabout, who is the best catcher in baseball? Realmuto's right there.
There's
Murphy's having a better season.
He's having a hugely better season.
Okay, it's one season. When you talk about best catcher in baseball, yeah.
Well, I'm saying this year. I'm saying this year. I would take him.
Well, you didn't think he was last year either.
No, he had a great rebound in the second half. I can't have, by the way, though, a player say that he's the best, where I'm saying the guy's the best, when for 2 months a year or 2.5 months a year for a second consecutive season, he sort of disappears. Like where he just does, he'll dig out of it. That's not usually when you're talking about the best of anything. You rarely ever talk about that. That Ellie De La Cruz, by the way.
That was pretty fun watching him yesterday.
Oh, my gosh.
He's good at baseball.
Okay, tell me the last prospect who came in and did this. Like this kind of, he's immediately.
Either Soto or Tatis.
I was going to say Soto, yeah.
Soto, either Soto or Tatis Jr.
Wasn't Soto like 19?
Yeah, he was.
Or something really young doing it?
Yeah, he was insanely young.
Because Ellie De La Cruz, though, and it may be that he comes into baseball at the perfect time.
O'Neal Cruz was another guy that came in and lit the world on fire for the Pirates there initially. It makes the game exciting, too. And I think part of it is what we talked about earlier. It's the bat flip thing.
Yes.
He hits a home run.
You know it.
Okay. You see it on Twitter or whatever, you move on. It's the fact that he hits the home run, points to the knob, then you're going, why is he pointing to the knob? Then you look into the story, and it's like, it's just, it makes the drama of the sport better.
Are you a fan of the younger guy coming in with that bravado? Or are you like, act like you've been there, kid?
No, I love it. In a sport with baseball where it's all about how you deal with failure, I have no problem with a guy coming in and being confident, because the sport of baseball will humble you pretty quickly and remind you that even at your best, you're probably failing 7 times. So I think in that sport, confidence is so key.
I'm going to tell you here is that Tyler sends an email earlier, Pat, backing you up. And he says, look, Pat's point is right. Retaliation is an old part of this game that you don't see much anymore. He said, but Ellie De La Cruz, that's why I wanted to bring it up. He says Ellie De La Cruz would have been plunked at least 3 or 4 times in today's in old day baseball compared to today. There would have been veteran pitchers saying, oh, you're going to show up people like that? You're going to steal 3 bases? Well, guess what? Next time you're taking one off the hip.
I don't have a problem with bat flips. I don't have a problem with retaliation. I like for them to both be in the game. The reason I was so adamant that it's just not really a part of the sport much anymore is it was probably close to a decade ago. Don Brown hit a home run in Florida and pimped it. Like, he just sat there, watched it,
right?
And Florida got all upset and pulled we'll remember this. You know what happened the next time they played? Don Brown was in the lineup.
Did he pimp one again?
I guess they forgot. I guess they had amnesia because they didn't hit him. And I was expecting it. And I was all for it. I'm like, yeah, okay. If you're going to talk like that, if you're going to be, Tommy Toughnuts, then hit him. They didn't.
Yeah,
They faced him 3 times that entire series. Or they faced him in 3 straight games. Didn't hit him once. They forgot. And it's like, all right, well, if you're going to talk about trying to send a message and all that, then do it. And I think the player would be all right with it, whatever. But
yeah, I would be flattered.
Yeah,
if the opposing team was that
I can find other ways to be flattered than get hit by a 96 mile an hour fastball.
I like both of it. Like I like sitting there and doing bat flips, and I like the retaliation angle of it too. I think it just causes good drama in the sport.
You can't force emotion, and you can't take emotion away. So with allowing the bat flip, all of that stuff, with these guys not plunking each other, well, part of it is you're taking away the emotion of don't stand there and watch a pitch, because if you do, I'm going to hit you. And letting guys do bat flips, and you as a pitcher just saying, okay, yeah, he got me that time. I'll get him next time. There's that fine balance, and it does appear to be changing, Pat, like you're saying. Guys will come into the league and just start, touting off and flipping bats and not caring what the opposition thinks. But there has to be some sort of balance, you think, of respect also.
You mean like respect for the game,
like
or respect for an opponent?
What he does, Ellie De La Cruz, when he the way he acts, it brings up the question: should a guy this young that's just coming into the league act like this? But at the same time, we like his emotion.
It's making
they're not robots out there.
It's making the Reds relevant too,
which is incredible.
Which is a team that has not been relevant for quite some time. You now have a player that fans know from the Cincinnati Reds, and we're big baseball people here, but for the most part, you take a casual baseball fan, you say name some Reds, they're probably naming Joey Votto, and that's it.
Are these casuals that like Daryl Morey would be calling out in front of a crumble cookie?
Maybe
sort of casual. Is that how that works?
Fair enough.
Maybe, yeah.
I love how Jamie and Chunas were having fun with that all last week. Oh, you're such a casual. It's just that was such a bad. By the way, such a bad look on Daryl Morey's part.
I liked it.
Really?
Yeah, I found humor.
Taunting his own fan base?
Yeah, I found humor in it. I mean, if you can't laugh at the situation,
Wow,
I think I'm
mocking his own fan base.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I'm an idiot.
Okay.
I don't think I'm breaking news there.
First part of your argument is valid.
Okay, we're valid.
Exactly.
We're valid. Go on.
And as a fan, I have said some dumb things and then been proven wrong very, very quickly regarding whether a GM.
Own them, though.
Yeah, I do, but like whether a GM or whatever. So, like, if I'm mocking a GM over a dumb move he's made, and then I'm sitting there at the same time making dumb points, he can mock me too. It's fine. There's a give and take with that. And
here's what I'd say to Daryl.
I didn't take offense to it, I guess.
Here's what I'd say to Daryl Morey, though. And if Daryl Morey, who's been invited on this show 1,000,000 times, would like to join us, I'll say it to him if he comes on the show. One thing that we do differently than executives in the NBA do is we sit behind a microphone and tell people the dumb things we say. We go back and we say them. We hold ourselves accountable. We mock ourselves for where we made bad moves. And I rarely hear an executive ever take personal accountability for the dumb moves they make or the decisions that they made that were poor.
Few and far between. Like I'll give you a great example. Last night, all right, right before I go to bed.
Okay.
I got my Twitter fingers just firing off about how I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning and B-Ball Paul's going to be another team, and this organization once again let a young player go for a vet. Daryl Morey must have seen that. That's the only.
There's no question.
Exactly.
I'm sure, and then he decided.
But 2 minutes after I sent that, the Daryl Morey tweet goes out about, out of the mud, and then the Woj report. And it's like, if I just waited 3 minutes, I don't look like an idiot.
But you also
I look like a damn idiot, and I'm happy about it.
But
like,
you
I want
didn't
people
delete
back.
it.
No, I'm not going to. There's no point. It's out there. So, I quote tweeted it and had fun with it. But, if I just waited 2 to 3 more minutes, but it's 10:30 at night, I hadn't heard anything. So I'm like, all right, at this point, he's probably gone. I didn't think they were going to match. I was thrilled to be wrong, but if Daryl Morey mocked me over that, I'd be all right with it. I look like an idiot.
I mean, look, Daryl Morey's been invited on this show many, many times. And it's met with crickets. And we're the freaking flagship. I mean, it just is. And look, that's publicly, I'm saying it because it is true. We hold ourselves accountable publicly. And we make fun of ourselves for all the stupid stuff we say and stupid decisions we made. And we've all done it. And we all do it. And executives do it too. I just say, look, like, don't be. I don't think mocking your fan base is a good look.
I
really
was
don't think it's a good
surprised
look.
by it, but then my second part was, he's just tying himself in with Tobias Harris.
Yeah, he's sticking up for his player.
Yeah, sticking up for his guy, and we know it's a tumultuous time with Tobias, and maybe it was a little, good
You think
nature.
He's sticking up for the guy that he knows he can't trade.
Do you think that what was said with Tobias was like he's the one who deserves backing up? I think the fan base deserves backing up. Again, these guys don't get it that what Pat talks about all the time. They come in here and they joined the 76ers as far as whether you're Tobias and you put on the laundry and you fight for that laundry, for the team laundry, as Jerry Seinfeld calls it. You're temporary to it, but you put it on and you're part of it. And then if next year you're asked to wear another team's laundry, you wear it proudly and you fight for it. You're an executive. You come into town for a short period of time and you try to do your thing. But the loyalty that the fans have to that logo, to that team, to that energy usually runs far deeper. It's their lifetime. And so I don't think you mock people about that. That's just me. And guess what? And I know Daryl Morey likes to have fun. And I know from a couple personal actions, he seems like a really good dude. So I'm surprised that he did it.
I think how the season ended is a big reason why people kind of were upset by it.
Absolutely.
If they end up getting out of the second round, losing in the Eastern Conference Finals, I don't think there's so much anger, but it was like a kind of time and place situation. I found it funny, but I know I'm in the minority with it.
And by the way, we don't bite, Daryl.
I do.
We don't. Oh, you do?
Yeah.
I could see Pat being on the bottom of a pile in a fight. And
Absolutely.
Biting somebody.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll bring you breakfast. We'll
I'll get your
treat you
ankles.
well. And yes, and we spend our days promoting your product. So please, come and join us. We'd love to hear from you. Doc Rivers found it many times. He found his way here and he loved it. So we'd love to talk to you. Hey, coming up, Bob's going to talk about something that he thinks we may be overlooking about the Eagles offense. It's the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Burlington, Philadelphia. A Beasley Media Group station. Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic. Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
This is the John Kincade Show here at 97.5 The Fanatic. Pat, where's John?
I don't know, man.
Huh. Oh, well.
He'll be back at some point.
Yeah, at some point.
Yeah.
Pat, interest in tonight's home run hitting contest?
0.
Really? That's funny. I heard one of the Phillies guys when I was driving around yesterday say that he had 0 interest in it, really, because then he backed it up by saying no Phillies are in it, so I don't care. But I like the home run derby.
When I was younger, I liked it. Jim Thome being in it, there was a sense of pride there. Bobby Abreu doing what he did.
Ryan Howard.
Something tells me you might hear that a little bit later. Ryan Howard. Yeah, it was cool. And then now I kind of use it because of our job, I use it as like a time to kind of decompress from sports a little bit and not worry about it. So, for betting purposes, yeah, it's there, but I'm not going to be really tuned in.
And what turns me off about it mostly, John, is Pete Alonso.
I hate Pete Alonso.
I can't stand watching.
Hey, that's the only win the Mets can get. So let them have it.
God, I can't stand him.
Yeah, he's pretty hateable.
I'm sorry about that. I was seeing someone in the hallway that I just wanted to finish a conversation with.
It's okay.
Yeah,
man.
I hate being late.
Believe it or not, John, we've done it.
Yeah, I've done that before.
I do it a few times a week. So
You do. You're never late. Well, sometimes
every once in a while.
Sometimes you have a little delay, but it's a sort of like a weather delay.
Yeah,
similar.
The flight patterns around the building. Get one bathroom's all used up. I got to go to the sixth floor. You got to go to the
upstairs.
And the 5th floor.
Does the guy in the suit come by and go?
I've never seen him.
Yes, you have.
No, I've seen him in the building, but I've never
seen him in the building.
I've never seen him when. So we're for the listeners that probably don't know. So our 4th floor bathroom is very, very crowded.
Yes.
And there's many times where we, during our break, will go in there, and I'm talking every stall and urinal is just full. Because we have the sales department, but we also have other clusters. So routinely, if it's full, you'll just go up to the 5th floor. And you've had run-ins with this guy? I've never had run-ins with this guy.
Not run-ins because he's very robotic. Like his pattern of speech and everything.
He doesn't seem fun.
No.
I've never seen him.
You have, because you've seen him walking out of the building. You've seen him in the lobby of our building. At the desk.
Oh, okay.
And he's not very expressive, and he sort of just is.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
He's way too serious.
Way too serious. Seems like it's like
It's a security guy you're talking about.
Yes.
Okay.
Jamie Lynch on one side of the meter, this guy on the other. It's like Jamie, constant giggles and fun and goofy, and then this guy. Proctologist appointment.
He kind of acts like he's working for the Secret Service.
Yes, he is, though.
He might be.
Could be. Hey, let's find out. Bob's saying in Cooney's Corner, we may be overlooking something when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Now, let's see what's in Cooney's Corner.
Yeah, it's weird. There's not a lot of things when it comes to the Eagles that you're going to say, man, I'm really worried about that, because they just seem to be built like that. It seems, and we've gone over their roster, we've gone over the different players, positions, whatever it may be, and there isn't a whole lot to worry about. The one thing I just wonder if we're overlooking. If you talk about some of the best seasons to be had recently by running backs, Miles Sanders had one last year. And we can poo-poo all we want, and I'm not defending, and it's not that. Here's my thing. Eagles' offense was awesome last year. And we talked about Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown and Dallas Goedert and especially Jalen Hurts and all that. Was some of it, a lot of it, opened up because you had a running back that went for close to 1,300 yards and 11 touchdowns?
Yes.
Right?
Yes. I think, though, that whatever running back they gave the ball to was successful.
That's where I think we might be overlooking things a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Miles Sanders is pretty talented.
Oh, yeah.
I just saying, because of this offensive line, anybody could have gotten 1,300 yards.
Well,
and
that's
I understand
stupid.
it.
That's stupid to me.
I hear that people say it and allude to it or whatever, and we all know it's not any. Any starting running back could probably get good yardage with this offensive line. Okay. The guy's pretty talented, and I do think it probably helped things out more than we know that he was such a good runner, a guy who averaged 5 yards a carry, a guy who could hit you a home run almost at any time. I think that probably helped this offense a lot more than we know. Held up a linebacker, made a corner, stay in place for an extra minute or so, or second or so, and opened up a wide receiver. My point being, how much do you think Miles Sanders helped Jalen Hurts be as good as he was, and maybe help the passing game as good as it was because of what he brought last year?
I think Miles Sanders, and Pat, speaking, is a big Miles Sanders guy always.
Yeah, you love Miles Sanders.
I was always a big one. Miles Sanders proved guys like me who doubted him wrong last year. And he was every single thing the Eagles always hoped he would be and more. He did a fantastic job last year. And I wish him, he's one of those guys I wish nothing but the best. He went and got paid. The Eagles weren't going to pay him. He went and got paid. But he was a huge part of what they did last year. And if you could point out the bad games Miles Sanders had last year, you're hard-pressed. Because he was utterly consistent last year.
Dude showed up and then some.
And that to me is the best asset, is that last year, because Miles Sanders used to have games where he'd show you a glimpse of what he could be. Yep. And then he'd go back. Not last year. He was fantastic.
That's a position, Bob, where I definitely have probably my fear regarding the positions that we're all comfortable with. I'm not talking linebacker or secondary, because you look at that and it's, the safety position, people go, oh, yeah, well, okay, I have concerns there. Linebacker, I have concerns. But there, pretty much every other position, fans don't have concerns. I do have concerns with the running back.
Tell me where your concerns lie.
I think they have a bunch of number twos.
Wow.
And we're banking on kind of what Bob said, like behind this offensive line, anyone can put up numbers. Penny is often injured.
Yes, he is.
His entire career.
But when he's not injured, he's far from a number 2.
But I don't think you can count on him because of the fact that he's always injured. So, I'd love to be wrong about it. I'd love to.
What about Swift?
I think Swift's a number 2. I think he's a nice change of pace back.
I think he's a nice tandem back, but the thing is, I think he's going to put huge numbers up in this offense.
I hope you're right, and we can laugh about this, and it's,
Can we laugh at you?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Put it in the book of, the bad Egan football take of the offseason, but I just think they have a bunch of number 2s. I don't know if they have that one. But then again, when they won the Super Bowl, they had a bunch of number 2s. They go out and got J.J., and he was number 1, but for the most part, it was a lot of like big bruising complimentary backs, and then you threw in, Corey Clement and he was a change of pace back that DeAndre Swift could possibly be. So, the year they won it all, they kind of had what they have now.
Wait a minute, though. Did you just compare Corey Clement to DeAndre Swift?
Yeah, that year.
No. DeAndre Swift will make Corey Clement's year of 2017 look like he'll leave that in the dust
I hope so.
In a month and a half.
Yeah, cool. I hope so.
I really do.
Running back didn't catch the ball in the backfield, but...
Yeah, he's a guy. Now, like I said, like Pat, you just said, yeah, you know what? It is my concern that running. We haven't, and the reason I say, are we overlooking it? We haven't really talked about it at all. We talked about DeAndre Swift coming in and Penny and Hurt and this and that and the other. But we're talking about 16 carries a game, like 80, 85 yards a game is what Sanders averaged. That's pretty good.
No, he's fantastic.
Boston Scott and Kenny Gainwell, they still did what they were asked to do, and they did it fine. I just thought it was a topic of conversation. Like, we're just kind of blowing off the Miles Sanders thing a little bit too casually in my mind.
I think Swift makes. Excuse me, Pat. I think Swift makes this offense much more dynamic.
The threat of him makes it more dynamic.
Yeah, like he can catch the ball in the backfield. I still think he's a nice change of pace back, but I don't think anything more than that. I think he's a better version of like a Boston Scott.
All right,
my gosh!
Wow!
I'm just not as high on him as everybody else.
But you're really underselling DeAndre Swift.
Everybody else is all DeAndre Swift up, and I think he's a nice. I think he's a nice change of pace back. I think he's gonna have a good season, but I don't think he's this like, oh my god, they found this diamond in the rough. This is one of the most amazing how he moves of all time. I hope I'm wrong.
Well,
But
I love contract to your running backs. Oh,
Yeah,
and that's a good point, John.
what's your confidence in him going 15, 80, 85 per average per game?
how
you
much?
think 15, 85?
Not much.
Not much.
I don't think he's getting the ball 15 times.
No, are you talking about rushing yards 85 a game?
Yeah,
No.
I mean, that's
no, combined yards a game?
Combined yards, maybe.
I'm absolutely confident with that. Combined yards a game, if you tell me like the 80, 85, I'm all in.
I think there's going to be a decent number of games where we're sitting there going, we're surprised about the totals. There's one ball to go around, and you've got a lot of running backs in a crowded room, and I think that Nick Sirianni has proven he likes to get a lot of guys involved. And I think you're going to have some games where DeAndre Swift gets 5 carries.
yes.
And
yes.
Penny gets 7. And Boston Scott gets 3, and Gainwell gets a few. You know what I mean? Like I don't
hear
think
you
there's
on
going to
that.
be
Or the feature
15
game.
I don't know if there's going to be a guy that gets 15 carries consistently in a game.
I'm going to say midway through the season, we're going to be disappointed that they haven't used DeAndre Swift enough as a catcher out of the backfield. I just don't think they're going to turn that offense. Kenny Gainwell, all right, he's the guy that you put in on third down. He's your pass-catching running back. How many times did they really go to Kenny Gainwell?
Yeah, I don't think Kenny Gainwell's DeAndre Swift, though.
Yeah, I hear you. I don't know if they have that in their game plan. Now, maybe they'll change it because now they do have DeAndre Swift. But, man, you got Goddard and Smith and Brown. You got all these guys you have to get the ball to. And Jalen Hurts is a big play quarterback. I don't know if we're going to see the little dumps and stuff to the running back as much as we anticipate.
This may be, though, too, Pat, my Bulldog bias coming in. Is that having watched his college career up close? I think DeAndre Swift is now on a NFL team that is similar to being on Georgia football. And in fact, so many Georgia people are here.
Yeah, right.
It almost is Georgia football.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I believe he's now on the quality of team. He ran behind a offensive line that was dominant in college football, similar to what he's done in the pros. That he's not in the pros. He's been in Detroit. Here, he's now on a team that is sort of like Georgia is in the SEC and in college football. I think that's just going to raise the level of play and raise his performance. But again, and I am biased towards that. I was very excited for it, and I love a running back trying to get his second contract. I love that.
Yeah, it's a good time to get him, no question.
It's a sweet spot because the mileage is. By the way, the mileage on him he's a low mileage model. Kirby Smart. Love to spread around the carries, love to spread around. So his whole thing on selling point is, I'm going to recruit 3 running backs, and I'm going to make sure that when you guys get ready to get drafted, nobody's saying that I broke the wheels off you at Georgia. So he does that. He did it for Nick Chubb. He did it for him. Those kind of things, that's the policy at Georgia. And Swift is, of a previous administration, but it's still sort of there, too, that carried over. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think about the running backs on a contract here, but that's very true. I do wonder.
And Penny's there too, by the way.
I wonder what impact it'll have with DeAndre Swift being home, good or bad. We've seen it in sports go both ways. It might not matter at all, but you might see a situation like Hassan Reddick, who came in and just seemed to be motivated by being home and obliterated competition. We've seen it go the other way. Nothing tells me that DeAndre Swift's in with like a bad crowd or anything like that. But sometimes there's distractions at home that you wouldn't necessarily have.
You don't think someone's going to write an article about him that he's hanging out with the wrong people? Yeah, because that's DeAndre's not that kind of kid.
No, I don't see the gang article coming with him.
Good.
But I mean, this is such a crowded room that you also have to wonder like who gets cut. Because it's pretty much down to Boston Scott and Kenny Gainwell.
Yeah,
I mean Penny and Swift are there, and are they really going to carry?
No, it's going to be Trey Sermon's going to get cut.
Well, I
not even counting.
Yeah, I think Trey Sermon. I think Trey Sermon's the guy who gets cut.
But are they really going to go into the season with 4 running backs?
Yes.
You think so? Really?
Yeah, I really do. I think they will. They may not dress one every week. They may take somebody and not dress them.
So I mean, if you're like a Boston Scott, I mean, I feel like the Eagles are to running backs what the Sixers are to front court guys. Like they have so many that who's the odd man out, who's not getting the ball. I mean, Boston Scott can return punts.
Right.
So you're probably dressing
And by the way,
him.
he was during the end of the year. He was doing some great stuff.
And then Kenny Gainwell, you oddly mixed him in towards the end of the year in the playoffs more than the regular season. So is he kind of gaining favor in the coaching staff?
You upgraded his position with DeAndre Swift.
Exactly.
Yes.
a guy that's a threat to catch and to run.
So are you now, John? You don't think that any of those guys will be camp casualties, but Bob, do you think?
Oh, I think I said to you off air about Penny that I said he won't be on the opening day roster.
So you really
remember
do believe that, eh? Yeah, you did say that.
I don't, but I believe it.
I don't say it in a bad way. I think they're going to find out that they don't have room for him.
You thinking that
he gets hurt?
And he's
that's
cheap,
what I was
too.
wondering. Do you think he gets nicked up?
Yeah.
Well, he's really, really cheap, so cutting him would make sense. I mean, I'd have to look at the dead cap money, but his contract wasn't much. It seemed to be a 1-year prove-it contract.
I looked last week. Excuse me. I looked last week and said Trey Sermon. His money number isn't good. By the way, like it's not. I don't think it's a good number. I think he's the guy that goes.
I think that's a lock. I mean, I don't think there's
I thought he was just to bring in last year.
Yeah,
and
but
let
I mean,
him
he's
go.
there.
Yeah,
he's there. He's somebody that can free up. Like I think they get cap relief actually if they get rid of him. So that may be something else that Howie's considering. And two, maybe Howie waits to see if a team's injured.
Yeah, that's what I think he's going to end up doing.
And gets a third-day draft pick. Like ends up picking up like a 5th-round pick for somebody, 6th-round pick.
Yeah, some of these guys, like the two guys I talked about,
right.
And Boston Scott and Kenny Gainwell. If you're a team that's dealing with some injuries, they've proven a little bit in this league.
I don't think there's any way they would deal Gainwell.
Really?
But his Gainwell,
what's his contract situation?
Well, I mean, he's only going into year 3, right? I think that they wouldn't deal him, and he's really affordable. So I don't see them making a deal for him, and I hope they don't deal Kenny Gainwell. Because last year I saw glimpses of what I thought he would be coming out. And you and I talked about it, Pat, because we watch a lot of the American. I really liked it when they drafted him.
Yeah, I did too. He could be a nice change of pace back, and I liked what I saw from him. But I wonder who the odd man. This team is so talented that there's going to be a couple guys that get cut that immediately get scooped up by another team. The
9 a.m. hour is brought to you by The Bagster. It's a dumpster in a bag. You can get yours today at Home Depot and Lowe's. And for details, go to bagster.com. We're going to do a Super Bowl draft coming up. Not like the one we did last week. Pat has something scheming up for us. We're going to do that like in around 10 minutes or so. So you're going to stick around and play along in your car with that one. But Phillies have the All-Star break here. Now the question is, after Friday night, I heard the comment being made, boy, this is a bad time for the break for the Phillies because everything's going their way. You don't want the break. You wish they had time. Then we see the last 2 games. Is it a good time for the break? Is the question.
There's always different ways you go. Ask any player, there's never a bad time for a break. That it's always a good time to get a break.
Everybody likes vacation, right?
Damn straight. I don't care if you've won 15 in a row, 17 in a row. Okay, I'm going on break happier because we've won that many. You've lost 8 in a row. Yeah, we need a break. Trust me, when the locker room would open after the last game played before the NBA All-Star break, you would get run over by players going into the locker room because they're running out to get in a cab.
Catch a flight or something? Really?
Absolutely.
Oh, man.
Absolutely. So I don't think breaks ever come at a bad time. And now the Phillies' whole staff is going to be going. They got a couple of players going. That's all right. No big deal. You're not taxing anyone or whatever. I like what they were saying yesterday. Nola's going to stay down in Florida just because he can. Guys will go wherever they want because they can. Many
of them had houses in the Clearwater area or stuff or condos, so they could have just stayed there after the Tampa series.
Exactly. So
spend some time, have the family down.
I can't even imagine 162.
I feel bad for them.
It's unbelievable.
I found myself. I don't know about you guys. I had the game on yesterday. I was bored out of my mind because it was one of those games I had no faith they were going to come back in.
Right.
And I was like just kind of waiting for it to be over and messing around on my phone and whatnot. And it dawned on me. If I'm like this now, sitting on the couch watching it, and these players know that the break is there, how motivated are they just to end this game?
Just get it over with, move on.
To start the break. And I couldn't blame them. I think it's human nature. I couldn't blame them if they were like that. But yeah, just to kind of kick off your quote unquote summer vacation, if you want to call it that. I mean, it's their all-star break. But yeah, I think it's probably good for this team to kind of decompress. I think it's good for every team to decompress, but for this team right now, doing what they just did in Miami, kind of trying to remind themselves, all right, we did have a really, really good, month and a half there, and gear up for the second half. I think that's important.
Yes, Should be, hopefully it works in their favor. A little clear the mind. Clear the mind a little bit, a little a cleansing breath.
Yeah, even if you're playing great ball.
And we all love it. We all love
Sure.
having. You tell people we have 5 days off, it's great. So hopefully they have a refreshing time because, again, your Philadelphia Phillies, half game out of the wild card at the All-Star break. They have the most favorable home and away split schedule in baseball going into the second half of the year. No excuses. They should be able to take care of business. They should be able to rack up wins. Their schedule is they have an easier second half schedule than they had first half schedule based on opponents. This should be where they take off in the second half. And I have a feeling that things are going to really improve. So, hey, Staples stores provide innovative products and services for small business, remote workers and learners, even teachers and parents. Explore more at your local Staples store. We're going to put together a list, and Pat's going to have a little game for us. All coming up. Thanks for hanging out with us. It is a Monday.
back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. Monday morning.
I don't know this song.
I don't know. I've heard it.
Pat?
I just hear it from the show.
Oh, so you only hear it that way?
Apparently, it's Anderson Sunshine.
It's an Anderson Cooper? Off his
it's
album?
Anderson Sunshine. Well, that's I guess Anderson Cooper's stage name.
I didn't realize that.
Anderson Sunshine.
You know who his mama was?
Yeah, he comes from big time wealth, right?
Do you know who his mom was? Oh, he's an heir to a huge fortune.
Who are we talking
Must be
about?
nice.
Anderson Cooper.
Oh, yeah. She was De Laurentiis, wasn't it?
No,
not
Gloria
De
Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt. I'm sorry. De Laurentiis is
Pat, do you even remember Gloria Vanderbilt jeans?
No.
They were...
Oh, Rock had a pair.
They were huge in the 80s. Did he really? I can't picture him in...
He had a pair of designer jeans.
I know he had Z Cavaricis. I guarantee you he had a pair.
I don't
No,
think so.
you don't think so?
None of my crowd did that.
The Z Cavaricis?
Believe it or not.
Okay, did any of your crowd have Zubaz?
I was just about to ask the exact same question because I think Rock was definitely a Zubaz guy.
I had Zubaz.
I don't think he did. He can call and defend himself. If there was anybody in our crowd that would have been a Zubaz guy, it would have been Rock, but I don't recall. But he may have. I don't know.
I'm going that way. I can tell you.
Jamie had Zubaz.
I had Zubaz
for the draft. They went out to Chicago.
Okay.
When Carson Wentz got drafted. And
he wore his Eagles Zubaz?
Jamie was wearing, I believe, we used to have a picture of it. We might still have it. No, we don't. Jamie was wearing his Randall Cunningham jersey and some Zubaz.
I had my Eagles Zubaz. I had, I don't remember if I had any other team. I know I had Eagles colors. And I love the Zubaz. That was, but I didn't wear them like really out. They were a wear.
They were like a lounge.
Yeah, and if you're running to Wawa, you're making a run to Wawa or something like that, I'd throw on the Zubaz. But that wasn't a wear out type of thing. But that
you weren't putting that on a Friday night to go to the club.
No, not the big Pat, not the biggest clubs guy ever. Didn't enjoy the club scene. Didn't enjoy the local bars were different. Bob didn't like clubs either.
You know, my friends hit that time too, the guys that I'm still friends with when we were 20, 21, getting in, doing the club thing.
No.
Some of them did. I just never, ever did. I always told them, I'll go to and I did. I spent my time at the local bar plenty.
Right, or whatever.
I'll do a sports, but to this day, I'll do a sports bar and sit there and talk and have beers and watch a game 99 times out of 99.
Now, we talked about this show this morning, the Goldbergs.
Yeah.
Well, it's Adam Goldberg, right?
Yeah.
Adam, he must have been in the same places that I was because he has brought places that he went to as a kid, as a young man, onto the Goldbergs.
Well, he's from Jenkintown.
Yeah, but he would come down to Pulsations nightclub. And Pulsations was like the teen nightclub. And so if you were, when you were 18, you could go to Pulsations. And they would have a DJ and everything like that. Love Pulsations. That was fun. They had Spinning Wheels Arena, which I think was featured on an episode or two. The roller rink. That was like a disco, like they play music, roller rink.
Yeah.
You'd be, if you're lucky, you're making out in the corner. You'd be lucky.
Well.
If you saw
some of us were just there for a workout.
Well, if the girls from Prendy were there, you might be.
You might have been doing it, but it might not have been so lucky.
By the way, did you guys see Jamie sent us the picture of him? So
in his Zubaz, I got to see it.
It's him and Jesse Jackson.
Jesse's the best.
But like the visual of big smiling Jamie
with Jesse Jackson
is truly something.
Oh my God, that's a great picture.
Pat,
what's going through Jesse Jackson's mind?
You didn't realize that Jesse Jackson though was working. Him and Jamie were working on race relations and making sure that things were good in the Philly community in Chicago.
Yeah.
So he was working that. He was brokering that with Jamie Lynch, which is absolutely fantastic.
Jamie's got his arm around him.
Like they're boys.
We were waiting for a flight once, and we're in the waiting area. I got to find the picture. And Bob, you always say you can find the picture. I'll find it. Jesse Jackson was waiting for the flight. And Olivia had heard about, like at school, had studied some about, the civil rights movement in America and all that kind of stuff. And she never knew Jesse Jackson as like a person who's on the news all the time and everything. She had no idea. But she had heard about him in class and studied him. He's sitting over there. She went right over to Jesse Jackson, introduced herself, everything. He took a picture with her, and he goes, wait a minute. And he takes his hat, and he puts it on Liv. And the two of them are posing for a picture together. He couldn't have been more kind, more fun. I had him on the show a few times. He was at the NFL draft once in New York. We had him on. He was at the Super Bowl in New York and did Radio Row, and he could talk football. He could really talk football, like to a level that you'd be like, wow, that's really good. He's really into it.
So that's where Jamie met him this time, was at the draft.
Right. I mean, it's like, this is a guy but he really was a fan of the sport, which was good to see. So, which is a lot of fun. I have a question for you here. If we were to do a top 5 positives list for the Philadelphia Phillies, can we come to a consensus of so far of this season? What would be on that list? Top 5
consensus.
A consensus between the 5 of us, between the 3 of us.
I think we could probably come up with a consensus of 4.
Okay.
I think like the 5th
Castellanos is 1.
Yep.
Castellanos is definitely
Craig Kimbrell's 1.
Yes.
Bryson Stott is 1.
Yes.
Alec Boehm is 1 to me. He'd be on my list.
Sure.
The 5th one, I'm a little more trying to figure out.
So for me, the 5th one would probably be the bench bats. I really thought they lost a lot of depth when it came to the Soto move.
Okay.
Losing Maton and Veerling.
And that did hurt them early in the year.
Yeah, I agree. I think it hurt them quite a bit. But you end up getting Cody Clemens, who ended up being a pretty decent piece. Now down at AAA, but it's more of a numbers game of the reason why. I don't think it has anything to do with what he's done up in the pros. And then I talked about him earlier, but Christian Pache, claiming him off waivers from the lowly Oakland Athletics and turning him into a guy that you don't sit and groan when except Bob groans when he comes to the plate, but everybody else goes, yay, Christian Pache, we love you. So that's cool. But I would say the bench bats, but it's more to do with how down I was about their depth. And they've proven to have some pretty decent depth. And I also think they've had decent depth in terms of like how they've managed first base for the most part.
Okay, so is there a 5th one?
I was going to say managing first base was going to be one of my positives, but I still think that's an unknown. I look at this more of the future, and this is kind of weird because they are stockpiled with center fielders down in the minors.
So the Marsh.
But Marsh was my guy, a positive that's only, 24, 25? A guy that really is hitting the ball so much better this year, and a guy that you could say, all right, there's our center fielder for the next 7-8 years if you wanted to. So that was my 5th. Yeah, that's my 5th.
That's a good 5th. I think it's a good 5th.
Kind of the reason why they traded. They gave up a big piece in Ohapi for him.
Yes.
Yeah. And they did so thinking, okay, this is a guy that we can pencil in for 6+ years probably.
And that was risky, but it worked.
Yeah, I mean,
we don't know about if he's going to be here this next time.
Ohapi is injured now, and he was on a tear.
He was
before, but yeah, so far it's bared fruit.
All right, so we got like 5 there that are very positive. If we made up a list of the 5 negatives, what would be the stronger case? Let's go to the negatives list.
I think
Trey Turner number 1.
I think we all agree Trey Turner number 1.
What's number?
Right, Pat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
My number 2. Pat, if you want to take it, go ahead.
I'd go with Kyle Schwarber.
That's my number 2. Absolutely.
It's not necessarily the average, because people will point to that and go, he's never been a really high average guy. It's the fact that it's a low average with the fact that they've taken away the shift. And when we did the preseason proclamations, I thought he'd have a lot of home runs. I thought he'd have a lot of RBIs, but I also thought his average would tick up to like 240, 250 because of the fact they took away the shift.
Right.
Not only did it not tick up, it's gone. It's putrid, and it's like $1.75. I don't know what it is, but it's bad. So I would have to go him number 2, no question.
I'm going to say the fact that they are the worst base running team in baseball.
That was my number 4.
Is on there. Would you say, and I know that Bryce Harper's lack of power would be on the negatives list. It's not a negative on Bryce Harper because Bryce Harper's a hell of a player and he came back and everything, but his lack of power is killing them.
Yeah, I think you could put it on there, and it's something that Jamie pointed out. You'll hear Jamie at 10 with Andrew, but Jamie pointed out that when Shohei Ohtani came back from Tommy John surgery, his power didn't come back for a year, and it's something I didn't realize, and I'm happy that he pointed it out because now I'm not expecting it to come back.
And it's no knock on Harper. It's like we're not trashing Harper for it, but it's part of the recovery process. Has to get stronger, I guess. But his lack of power though is killing this team right now. Like he's not even a threat to hit a home run anymore right now.
Yeah, it's not great. He's getting the timely hit, but it's just the big hit isn't there.
I didn't have that on my list,
okay,
but that's a really good one.
What did you have? Anything else?
So at 3, I had defense.
Their defense is terrible.
It's absolutely negative to me. At 4, I had base running.
Yes, okay, so we already had that one.
At 5, I have Rob Thompson.
I think it's a great one. He was my 5th too.
I got something on my list that you didn't mention.
What's that?
Frontline starting pitching has been awful.
That's not bad.
And like if you look at the numbers, you go awful. Like they're not.
Oh, but they're
But for what you consider a frontline starter to be, and what these guys have done in terms of Nola and Wheeler, especially Wheeler in his Phillies career. I mean, this is a guy that's been a sub-3 ERA guy, and I said it earlier. But like if he goes 6 innings and 4 runs, we're praising him for quote battling. Like they've been a huge disappointment, and they're my biggest concern going into the second half because if they don't get it together, I don't care what your offense does, you're not winning anything. You need your aces to pitch like an ace.
All right, to that, were we negligent in not having Taijuan Walker on the positives?
I don't think he cracked it. He should be, but I don't think he cracked the top 5. I don't put Taijuan Walker ahead of any of the top 5. Even though I'm very impressed.
I thought maybe it's just somebody we forgot about, but that's fair enough.
I'm with you on that. I mean, I don't know if his recent success outweighs
the early struggles.
And his last game wasn't amazing. He's pitched probably like you'd expect a quote number 4 to pitch.
I'll tell you this, I like the way he's trending. Let's put it that way. Last start wasn't a great one, but I like the way he's trending. So hopefully that works out. So what list you think holds more weight as far as the better list? The 5 positives or the 5 negatives?
I think your stronger list, this is horrible.
Is it weird?
I think you can make stronger arguments for the negative list.
I agree. I think it is. I think
easier arguments, however you want to phrase it.
I think it's the negative list.
Right, Pat, or no?
No, I agree, and I think that might just be our DNA as quote Negadelphians.
I don't consider ourselves, though, that we are.
Yeah, I skew negative. Am I sitting there doom and gloom after, every single win and not enjoying it? No, but like in terms of like I skew negative, so thus I think I'm a Negadelphian. But with this, I think the bad outweighs the good because they're in 3rd place.
You know what's funny though is, Pat, I swear to you, I work with you every day, and Bob, you should be the arbiter on this one. Okay. I work with you every day, and I do not consider you a negative Philly fan. Philadelphia fan.
I turn it on at around 10:45.
Oh, but the thing is, though, I don't consider you. I consider you very, like you. I think you tend to find a lot of silver linings that sometimes, like, I don't know. I tried. I don't see you as a negative Philly fan.
I wouldn't label him that. No,
I wouldn't either.
I would label you passionate.
I think you ride the roller. I think you ride the roller coaster.
As long as you don't label me educated, I'm all right with it.
Yeah, it's
never.
I was talking to Connor earlier. So Facebook, that cesspool, they have the thing where you can see your memories like on that date, dating back to whenever. And baseball season makes me cringe because some of the memories from like the glory days of the Phillies, so like 09, 10, 11. It's the way that at times I'm like putting a status up and you could tell like the team's going through like a 4-game stretch and they're playing poorly. But you would think the sky's falling and this team is one of the worst teams in baseball.
Right.
And I've been able to sit back and go like, all right, don't take one series and think it's the be all end all, because this is how you acted, 15 years ago. And that team was one of the best teams in baseball and went to the World Series. So don't do it now.
I'm picturing you on Facebook.
It wasn't a good place.
And laughing.
It wasn't good.
Oh, you mean really? I found out a lot of my friends were epidemiologists during the pandemic. I never realized.
During the pandemic, I didn't know I would ever do this, but I craved more food pics.
I mean,
There was a time in my life where I
you
said,
didn't.
please, God, no, I don't need to know what you're having for dinner. And then all of a sudden the pandemic hit and election season hit. And I'm like, you know what? I'm really craving somebody's chicken piccata.
yeah, exactly. I mean, you're just looking for something. I told Bob this from this weekend, and it just is, it tells you, I think, in the Facebook level of society where we're at. And I didn't give you the story, Pat, but I told Bob off the air. So I'm sitting waiting for Christina, and there's this other couple sitting like 2 seats away from me. There's like a bank of seats. And I'm wearing my mask because we're out in public in a sort of crowded place. So that's what the oncologist tells you to do. And I'm sitting there, and this couple's looking at me, and I'm thinking, okay, they know me from the radio maybe? I don't know, but they kept looking at me. And then finally, the gentleman says to me, he says, may I ask you a question?
Are you Jamie Lee Curtis?
And I said, no, and I wasn't. But I did have Activia. I was eating an Activia, so I could understand there'd be that issue. The gentleman says to me, can I ask you a question? I said, sure. And I take down my mask so I can speak to him. And he says, when are you going to feel safe enough to take off that mask? And I literally looked at him and said, when they cure me of my cancer, why don't you shut the hell up?
Got him.
And he and her looked like, they looked at me like they were going to vomit. But they were looking to pick a fight with somebody in public or just have a debate with somebody in public over something they do. When are you going to feel safe enough to take your mask off? I said, when they cure me of my cancer.
Got his ass.
And he looked at me like, crap.
Yep.
Oh, crap. And it seemed to me like a Facebook argument.
No,
Yeah.
John had a great line earlier. He goes, I just hate people.
I said it because, seriously, I'm starting to.
It's a great industry to be in, Johnny.
Yeah,
But I mean, I'm just starting to hate, like, the people would be so, like, somebody who doesn't know me is sitting there looking at me and then going, oh, I'm going to get him.
What's funny is you don't hate people.
No, I don't. I love people.
You know, yeah, I mean, like,
but I'm getting a little tired of it. Like, today, I'm not feeling as good about people.
When we do our PG's happy hours, the way that, it's impressive, the way you work a room and you go up and you
See
love
people.
meeting new people and shaking hands and kissing babies and making out with dudes. And
I do.
And
Pat.
I'm sorry. That's right. You have to come to the happy hour to see that.
Right.
That's just a privilege that you get when you show up.
And brunettes over blondes.
Yeah, obviously.
Brunettes over
I
blondes.
think.
Hey.
Are we all in lockstep with that?
Hey, Chris is with us. Chris, you're on the Fanatic. How you doing, buddy?
All right, how are you?
Good, man.
Now, I just want to.
Your phone's breaking up on us. We'll put you on hold. We'll try you in a second.
Yeah, we've had bad phone luck today.
Yeah, we'll try you in a second. So stay on the line. We'll see if we can get you to a better sell. Take that BetParks Sportsbook with you everywhere you go. Go to betparks.com. Maybe you will be in a great position to win some money. I'm not betting on the All-Star game at all.
Nah, I don't do that. I don't do the home run derby.
I was going to say, are you guys going to bet on the home run derby?
Nah,
No.
I mean, I think about it because I do like watching it. I really do enjoy it. But no, I'm not going.
So shame on me for not looking into if they continue to do it, but I want to say maybe 2015, Reading had the AA All-Star game, and they revamped the home run derby and made it like a carnival where you had targets that you had to hit.
Oh, really?
and
See, now that would be
zones.
fun.
And yeah, and I thought like, man, like it would be really cool if they did this for Major League Baseball instead of just making it a simple, okay, can you hit it at the ballpark? They made it like a spectacle. And I don't know if they've continued to do it in AA. I don't know if really they've revamped it in the majors though, because I just found myself not really caring too much when a Philly's not involved in it.
Pat, I am, by the way, I do not want to shortchange your thing, so we're going to push that to tomorrow.
That's fine.
If that's all right.
Yeah,
I'm going to sort of let you produce here.
Short changing is what I do.
Yeah, and we'll do that. I want to tell you, let's see Chris. Connor says he sounds good. Chris, thanks for holding on for it, buddy. Chris? Nope.
Oh, he sounded better.
Sounded good on Connor's end. Didn't sound good on our end.
Yeah,
So something,
oh, well.
it happens. Bad sells happen all the time. So let's find out who's on the hot seat.
Yesterday's game has everyone talking, but one person is on the hot seat. Let's find out who.
You know what's funny is this isn't about a game, unless you call the NBA's off-season a game. Maybe it's more like a chess match. And Daryl Morey is being counted on to be a chess master. Now, we all know Pat Egan was on the chess team. So I don't know if there would
State champion.
a state championship chess team.
No, Catholic League champion.
Catholic League champion, I'm sorry.
Give me that credit now.
Yeah, you wouldn't have beat that team from Lackawanna.
Rook to King 5. Bang.
Bang.
Checkmate.
So there is, I mean, I don't know if That would be something that Daryl Morey would be able to do. Outwit Pat and Chess.
Probably. I haven't played in a while.
But I hope he's ready to outwit another general manager because everybody now needs to know Paul Reed's back. That contract's going to be a little dramatic. And now you got to go. If you win a first-round series, then you guarantee it for 2 more years. It's going to be a tough move, an off-season for Daryl Morey because everybody's trying to figure out what the plan is. Daryl, you are being counted on in a huge way to make this all make sense. And you know what? So far, the tenure hasn't gone that great. So we're looking forward to seeing what your plan is. H&H Heating and Air Conditioning. If your HVAC system needs emergency service or you need a new one, H&H Heating and Air Conditioning is the way to go. Visit DelcoHVAC.com, and you can be in Montgomery County, Chester County, Delaware County, whatever it is. They're going to take great care of you. Philadelphia, DelcoHVAC.com. Say hello to the Hoke brothers. They are great people. I hope we get a glimpse into the plan.
I don't think we will. I think we'll know the plan when it happens. I don't think we'll get a glimpse into it. I don't think we'll have...
You don't think we'll have any hints?
Hints as to it? No, I just don't. I think this is a very keep your cards close to the chest kind of group, and that when something happens, boom, it's going to happen.
Well, remember the James Harden trade day, and I'm sorry if I'm getting amnesia here. I must be in Port Charles. Did we, the morning of, were we hearing rumblings that a deal might be happening? Or remember, as the trade deadline was coming up. And so I think people were wondering, could you get Harden? There was a lot of talk about.
Well, there was Wendy saying we're in the deal zone.
Right.
But everybody, like Woj discounted that. I think Shams discounted it too and said he's not getting moved.
Yeah, I remember being surprised when it came across, like, damn, it happened.
Yes.
So... Yeah, I just, and they have been described nationally, Daryl Morey and company, as you're not going to know until it gets there. Think about it. Windhorst is the only one that has said anything projecting the Sixers, and he says, he's got something up his sleeve. Now, that's nothing major. That doesn't mean he really got hint of anything, but it doesn't appear that Woj and Shams and Windhorst are on speed dial with Morey to give them hints of what's going on.
Now, the thing is we do know that Woj has the inside track to Harden's camp because he pushed the narrative of Houston for the Harden camp from Christmas night. So if you're hearing anything there, could it be coming from Harden's camp?
Absolutely.
That it's all quiet.
Anywhere.
That it's all quiet on the Western Front, or
yeah, you never know. I mean, I remember one time something happened pretty major, and I got a call from somebody I totally didn't expect to get a call from a source who gave me something that I had to check on, and I finally got second and third confirmation and stuff like that, and was able to run with the story.
How did you? But the thing is, when you're up against that, how do you, as a journalist, how do you double check enough to know what you're running with is sort of legit information, or do you just report it as sources indicate?
No, you have to trust your source. You have to trust your source. And this one, I could have run with the source that gave it to me because I trusted that person so much. But I have to do due diligence.
Right.
I can't go to my boss and say I could go to my boss and say,
and would they
such
decide?
And such called me. I'm going with it. And then it's on me. Then it's on me. I run with it, and it's not correct. Damn on me. But and there's also kind of a game you have to play sometimes. I might have to call the Sixers PR and say, hey, I know this happened. I'm running with it, whether and then put the ball in their court. And maybe they say,
give us 5 minutes, give us 10 minutes, we'll come up with something for you? Or is it usually...
Yeah, they can say that, but...
And then you're running with it. Exactly.
Yeah, which happened more than a couple of times.
It's a job that I don't think I'd ever be good at because the not getting played must be such a big part of it.
It is.
Not
it's
being
tough.
used, and you see it all the time. Of there's guys in every sport that they'll throw out stuff constantly, and they love pounding their chest when they're right. But it's like, yeah, but you got this wrong, this wrong, this wrong. You're clearly being used as a mouthpiece for the organization.
Yes.
And you get one or two right to keep you on the hook. But other than that, man, you're floating out garbage. And to not getting used in that spot, I think would probably be my biggest fear.
I think I'd get used a lot. If I had sat in Bob's shoes, I think I would have get used a lot because I trust people way too much.
I'd be like a Groupon. I'd be getting used constantly.
It's just early on. You have to tell everybody. Look, I'm here to do a job. Whether I have to write something that you agree with, disagree with, whatever. I hope you respect it. I respect what you do, and you try to keep things open and honest so that they know you're just giving an. Right. I mean, there was plenty of times I wrote stuff and I'd have a general manager call me and be like, "What the hell?" I mean, I'll never forget walking into a Beef and Beer at Camden Catholic one Friday night for the basketball and getting a phone call and having to turn around and go sit in my car and getting a screaming match with somebody on the 76ers about something that I wrote.
What was an easier job, columnist or beat writer? Where did you face more obstacles as far as doing the job? What was a more enjoyable job?
I loved them all. I did. I loved anything, any. The column thing was, for me, I liked it because I wasn't an outlandish guy who wrote columns like just for writing columns. I wrote what I believed, what I felt, what I researched, all of that, and tried to make it thought-provoking towards the people who followed the Sixers. I'll give you an example. I wrote a column one time when the Sixers, Pat, you might remember this, when they had all of Nerlens Noel, Joel Embiid, and Jahlil Okafor, and they decided that they were going to give Noel a week off to give a bigger look at Okafor or something like that. And I wrote, who the hell are you guys to draft somebody and then say, no, we're going to give you a week off when you're losing all these games? Like what exactly are you doing here? Yeah. Right. And I think we were on a road trip, and Brett Brown pulled me aside afterwards. He's like, what the hell did you write that for? And I said, because it's my honest opinion. Like, who are you guys sitting here at 2-28 to give a guy that you took 6 overall or whatever it was a week off? Aren't you there to develop him? Aren't you, So we had a back and forth. He didn't agree with me, but he saw what my questioning was at the end of it.
But he was open to the conversation. He wasn't just, like, he heard you out.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
He said, okay, that's the way you look at it. I don't look at it that way.
How did he explain how they
it was
looked
a long conversation, but it was that they couldn't have all three guys on the court at the same time. They knew that, and we all knew that Embiid was the future. So who works better with Embiid, Okafor or Nerlens Noel? And I said, really? So you have to go through 5-7 games here to figure that out? Isn't that something either you already should have had figured out or is in plain sight? And he goes, oh, it's in plain sight to you? I said, yeah, you have one center here. The other two don't belong. I don't know what to tell you. Nerlens Noel, and I said this at the time, he's a career backup. I don't know all this faith that you guys have in him, and I think it's plain and clear. He says, well, I don't see it that way. So that was just our differences.
Yeah, and that's good that he was open to it.
What's he think about him now?
Nerlens Noel?
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's thought about him in a while, have they?
Oh, man. Yeah, I don't think he's getting a lot of...
And there are side factors of Nerlens Noel that you guys know that just lent for me not believing he was going to be this all-star center in the NBA.
I celebrated so much when I thought it was a home run pick. And
really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I got to tell you.
I had people
saw it.
I had people associated with the NBA down in Atlanta that said to me, I think you're going to have a different opinion in a few years.
Oh, is that right?
And I was like, really? Okay.
Oh, I've been wrong on many people. Also, I don't know. He never, ever did it for me.
Pat, I thought home run.
Look, I
didn't think he was going to be like every year an all-star or anything. But I thought it was a pick he was one of the pieces that was going to be there.
I'm going at the time on what ESPN's telling me and their rankings.
Yes.
And he was, at the time, the consensus number 1 pick until he got injured.
Right.
He gets it, and by the way, horrible draft that year. Giannis was the crown jewel, but he was like at 15, so you can't even say he was the crown
14,
jewel.
I think, yeah.
14 and 15. So I'm looking at it like they just got the best player in the draft, but he's injured, and for what they want to do, this is perfect. He sits a year, and then he comes back, and he's dominant. Yeah, he wasn't that.
I saw where a couple writers, by the way, and I love it when Jamie says it better, Mishkov, that a couple hockey writers really truly believe that he's going to end up being the best player in this draft.
Matty Mitch?
Even ahead of Connor Bedard. They like the star quality of this kid big time. And they say he's sort of got a nasty edge to him, too.
He would be the number 1 overall pick in many years.
Yes. Next year, they said he would have been consensus number 1.
Yeah.
So, look who's here. How about consensus number 1's here? Jamie Mishkov.
Love that kid.
Oh, gosh. Mishkov.
I've never seen him play.
I was going to say
nothing about him.
You couldn't pick him out of a lineup.
No, I wouldn't know if he was sitting right next to me, but I love the upside.
I like Zamboner over there. It's great.
There's a great video, though, if you look, of the kid getting drafted by Phoenix ahead of him.
Oh, and Michkov was like smiling as he's
Michkov
walking
gives
down
the
stairs.
smirk
Nice.
as he walks by. The little
knew.
Russian, like he's one of the Russian Bond villains.
Yes.
Little smirk, like, yeah, good luck with that.
Good. Bring the villains over here. Instead
Yes.
of the bullies, we'll be the villains. That's cool.
I wouldn't be bad. Little villain dance. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Good?
Good.
Yeah, exactly. I think we share your sentiments this morning.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Great.
Yeah. But you're looking forward to a big day today.
Yeah, it's
know
going to be
that.
fun. We're going to do grades first half.
No, you're not.
I know. I heard
you're not.
I heard you when I was driving in.
Call us
Wins
up.
and losses
Call
of
us
the
up.
Eagles.
What's your first half
Yes.
grade? I guarantee you today,
Do it.
I will hear that on Philly Sports Radio.
Probably.
Garrett, what is your first half grade for the Phillies? You giving them an A or are you giving them a B?
We might not do grades. We're going to do some evaluation, though, because I know Jamie's all bothered about Topper.
As he should be.
Bryson Stott should not have a day off.
No,
That was
it's
Schwarber should have been benched.
Yeah.
Taken out of the game on Saturday.
Bryson Stott's one of your best players.
And speaking of Schwarber, I'm going to get into the cult heroes of Philadelphia sports.
That's a great one.
Or maybe not even heroes, just like the weird, we go over the top to defend kind of guys.
Yes.
Aaron Nola's the weirdest.
I play Sunday League baseball, and there was a legitimate argument between two of my teammates. I mean, like yelling argument about why Schwarber should or should not be in the leadoff spot.
I support the guy that says he shouldn't be.
A sports argument
With you.
that, like, they're screaming at each other? Like they were really yelling at each other, angry.
That angry, yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, and it was just like... all right.
Aaron Nola doesn't care that much about anything.
No,
but you
he
shouldn't
doesn't.
either.
No.
Now, Schwarber seems. I think Schwarber should have been pulled out of that game the other day. Two stupid mistakes, not paying attention and not hustling. I would have taken him out. And more importantly, Rob Thompson not addressing it publicly.
Yeah, it's weird.
And I went back and looked at what Charlie Manuel said about Jimmy Rollins, August 12th, 2012. He pulls him out. At the end of a game, he has to pull him into his office, talk to him about not hustling. And then he says to the press, we have a few rules here. Hustling's one of them. Mm-hmm. He said, but that's a private matter between me and Jimmy. 2 weeks later, he pulls him out of a game. Literally pulls him off the field for not hustling.
But I can say, we don't know if Topper did say something to Schwarber behind the scenes.
Yeah, but Charlie addressed it with the press too.
Right.
And said, here's the standard here. Rob Thompson, it's like, Schwarber. We're just going to let him be what he is.
But we don't like Andrew said. I don't know.
Yeah, but he didn't tell us. Charlie told us.
Okay, but that's a player. Maybe you don't do that. Like I said before, Rollins has this personality and stuff. Maybe he needs to be knocked down a notch, so he goes to the press and says it to them. Schwarber might be a guy where you just pull him aside, and as you're pulling aside, Schwarber goes, "I know, my fault. I know. I swear it won't happen again." I don't know. I don't know that he didn't say anything. I'd be surprised if he didn't say anything.
Did I hear you say you're coming around to the right side?
I am.
Welcome, Bobby. The water's warm. Come on in.
Yeah, but you've been peeing in it.
Yeah, well, I've been here a while.
One of the big arguments that was made yesterday about Schwarber.
He's not a leadoff hitter.
One of the big arguments yesterday. Well, he walks a lot, which is true. He's fifth in the league or third in the league.
So he clocks the bases. That's all that means.
But do you know what his on base percentage is?
It's not that great.
305?
316.
Wow. I thought 305. So there you go.
I thought 350. That's still not great. 316.
He's not good for a leadoff hitter.
That's terrible.
It is terrible.
I don't care how many times you walk.
Ryan Howard batted that.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
His MVP season.
And I still say it, Jamie, and I know you've said it, or either you or Chunas was saying it last week. I'd bet Bryce Harper leadoff.
That's what Jamie was
Or
saying.
I bet, especially with his powers down now.
Yeah, he's a
get
singles
Bryce
hitter,
more at bats.
and his on base is almost 400.
Get him more at bats.
And he's got speed. What are we doing?
All right, you guys going to have some more fun today? You guys had a lot of fun. It's been fun, I'm sure. It's
been a blast.
Cuz feels very good that you guys are keeping the house down.
He'll be back next week. One more week for Jamie and I.
Well, let's have a fun week.
Damn right.
I look forward to listening. It'll be good. Chunas and Jamie coming your way next. A little wake and bake morning radio, midday, whatever. Hey, we appreciate you very much. Support life-saving cancer research. Join us and our generous partners, the Davis CPA Group, and make a donation today to the American Association for Cancer Research. You can do it at 97.5thefanatic.com/AACR because cancer research saves lives. We love you. We appreciate you. We love you, Coach, very, very much. Eric Camille. We'll be back tomorrow morning.